Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto has Hollow Mask Bloodline part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Grimmjow Jijijakas, the sixth strongest of the Espada and Aizen's elite army of the Arankers and Las Notches within the realm of Wakomundo, looked around the dark realm he found himself in and wondered if this was the place where his kind went when they died. He had just lost to Ichigo in a battle worthy of an Espada, but Grimmjow did not know the meaning of the words give up and rose to fight Ichigo once again. However, before that could happen, the prick Naruto blindsided him and sliced him in half before the darkness that was death took him here. Wherever here was anyway. Hey. Is there anybody here in this shithole? If there is and you're strong then I want to fight. Said Grimmjow, as he had not intention of being and doing nothing while the rest of the universe did its own thing without him. Well, if this isn't a surprise, said a feminine voice behind Grimmjow, and the former Espada turned around to see her standing a few feet away. Espada number 3 Tia Harrible. What the hell? What are you doing here? Said Grimmjow, as he wondered how an Espada twice his rank was here and not in Las Notches fighting the other Shinigami. I was killed by Aizen, said Tia, as she told him what Aizen did and how they were nothing to the man, despite the fact they served him loyally. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I hope Ichigo and his allies kick the crap out of Aizen when they face off against the prick, said Grimmjow, as he hated Aizen due to the man being a former Shinigami, but had been loyal if only for the most part due to the rogue Shinigami bring him strong unorthodox opponents and loved fighting them all. You need not concern yourself with that now. Former members of the Espada, said a deep sinister voice with its spiritual pressure suffocating the two Aranker. Who said that? Said Tia, as she drew her sword, and so did Grimmjow. Only for them to drop when the pressure increased and forced them both to their knees. I did, said the demonic and ghostly being hovering above them with a crown of bones on its head. Who the hell are you? Said Grimmjow, as he tried to stand but didn't have the strength and saw Tia was doing the same. Who am I? I am the Shinigami King, said the ghostly image above them became a tornado of power and changed a regal middle-aged man with blood-red eyes. This is the guy Aizen wants to kill. Ha. Good luck with it, you manipulative dick, thought Grimmjow, as he could tell right away this being made Aizen look like a pansy and wiped the man out. Normally, I don't interfere in the affairs of the human world, the Shinigami world, and even Wakomundo, though make no mistake with my power, I could wipe out all the hollows there. I see more that goes on in all three worlds than anyone else from each world, and I have been waiting for just right individuals for a mission that if completed will clear each of your slates clean, said the Shinigami King, as he let up on the spiritual pressure and let the two Aranker rise. What mission? Said Tia, as she was curious about the mission and from the Shinigami King himself that was saying it was important. In another place and time in another dimension of the human world, there is a child that was burdened with holding a powerful demon by his own father. This demon was so powerful that the man, who was called the Hokage of this village, that he chose to summon me personally to seal it away and asked his child to be seen as a hero. The boy was not, said the Shinigami King, as he showed moments of the boy's life where he was attacked, hated by everyone around, and was shown little kindness with some of the people, only betraying the young blonde in the end. Shit. Not even that prick Naruto would go so far like these idiots, said Grimmjow, as he felt his anger rise within his body, and Tia could easily agree with him on that subject. Yes. Because of my seal, the boy will be gifted with the power of the Shinigami and one day have his own Zanpakuto. However, because of his years of abuse in the very beginning of his life, the child will also gain a hollow side and will one day come out when the time is right. He will one day become what is known as a wizard. Not unlike the one called Kurosaki Ichigo that you yourself encountered on more than several occasions, Grimmjow, said the Shinigami King, as he saw the two Aranker look at him in surprise and then back at an image of a lonely blue-eyed blonde boy wishing to be loved. So we go this world, meet the kid, and then train him. Is that mission? Said Grimmjow, as he had an eyebrow raised and ignored Tia walking towards the blown-up image of a depressed Naruto. No. You will not just train him. You will both raise him as if he were your own, said the Shinigami King, which made both Arankers look at him in shock and then at each other with wide eyes. What? What the hell are you thinking with that line of thought? Said Grimmjow, as he had nothing against Tia, but he didn't like her like that and was pretty sure she didn't like him that way either. I agree. Why put both of us together for this? Since I am the stronger of the two of us, just leave it to me and send this weakling into the abyss, said Tia sharply, while her eyes narrowed at Grimmjow. Yeah, hey. I am not the weaker one here. You may have been the third strongest of the Espada, but you still got your ass killed and by the very boss we both served. Said Grimmjow, who would have said more, as would have Tia with her own opinion of him, had the Shinigami King once more used his spiritual pressure to shut them up and force them into submission. That is enough from both of you. I don't care whether or not the two of you like each other in that way, as my only concern is the boy I am placing in your charge and is suffering as we speak because you two are arguing about being a couple. When I brought you here, it was because I knew you two were the best suited for this out of all the other possible candidates I had in stock, just itching to do this, and will jump at the chance if I change my mind in sending you both. Something I am right now very tempted to do if you both don't get your egos deflated in the next 5 microseconds of life," said the Shinigami King, as he was not about to have these two get into a fight over such a stupid thing when the boy he brought a burden to was suffering and needed help. Alright. I'm in," said Grimjo flatly, though his eyes looked at Naruto's and there was a flash of something in them at the sight of the kid. "Me too. Though we are not sharing a bed," said Tia as she looked at Grimjo, who just scoffed and then went back to the image of Naruto before she put a hand on the image of the boy's face. "I don't care about that part, your housing situation in regards to Naruto. Just make it work for the boy's sake. Maybe in time the two of you will have a change of heart on the matter," said the Shinigami King, seeing a blush form on their faces before he called forth a blast of white energy that teleported the two out of his domain. Konoha Nightfall. "Damn demon. Why won't you die?" said a village as he beat up a young 8-year-old Naruto in an alley area and the boy would not give in to his words. "I'm not a demon," said Naruto as he was punched again in the face and knocked down with his head hitting dirty water. "Yes you are. You are a freak of nature that doesn't deserve to be here. But don't worry, I'm going to do you a service in sending you back to hell, and there is no better way for a demon than to set one on fire," said the man as he threw a bottle of sake on Naruto and then drew a match with a wicked gleam in his eyes. The man was about to drop the match on Naruto when a flash of white light off in the distance caught his attention and the man missed the blonde's movement of hitting the attacker right between the legs. The boy had seen the attack used by a woman with purple hair a few months back and decided to use it only with his fist instead of the knee since he wasn't tall enough yet. The man cried out in pain as he saw Naruto take off running and snarled at the brat for hurting his family jewels and limped after the blonde to teach him a lesson. Naruto made it about 2 blocks when he tripped and fell on the ground with his attacker right behind him with the intent of trying to set the boy on fire. Even though Naruto had run this far, the man just had to follow the smell of sake he hit the bleeding boy with and the struggling moans of pain heard from his soon-to-be-burned victim. "I'm not a demon. Why won't you believe me?" said Naruto as he saw the man corner him and then pull out another match. "Because you're a demon and demons are not to be trusted," said the man, but before he could drop the match on the boy, he was struck in the head by a foot and sent crashing into a wall with the impact causing the man to explode everywhere. "What an asshole," said the newcomer as he looked down at the boy and then over to the other person looking on in the shadows. "Who are you?" said Naruto as he saw the man had what looked like part of a skull the right side of his face and then at the woman in the shadows looking at him cautiously. "The name's Grimjo." "Grimjo Jijijakas," said Grimjo as he grinned down at the boy and was surprised that the kid wasn't afraid of him for what he just did. If anything, the kid looked grateful but still cautious since no one clearly helped out the boy out of the goodness of their hearts and wouldn't do this unless they got something out of it. It made Grimjo angry that this place with such strange spiritual energy could do this to one of its own and simply treat the kid like a monster. The Espada never did that. Never. Aizen had made it a point to teach them all about loyalty to one another, to not do stupid things like infighting, which would allow the Shinigami to enter their world in order to destroy it and them for what they had become. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Is the pretty lady with you too?" said Naruto as he saw Tia look away, though a blush did creep up on her face despite it being covered up for the most part, and then looked at Grimjo currently smirking at the boy. "Yeah, she's with me. Sort of anyway. Her name is Tia Harable. As for the reason we are here is to help and adopt you, Naruto," said Grimjo grinning, but his grin left him when Naruto scowled at him and began walking away with a hurt look on his face before Tia appeared in front of the boy. "Why are you walking away, Naruto?" said Tia as she was disturbed by Naruto's actions and the look of sadness in his eyes. "Because I know you're messing with me. Before I was kicked out of the orphanage, I was tricked by several parents who said they wanted to adopted me and then not show up while I waited for them all into the night. I swore to myself I wouldn't be fooled by people like that ever again, so don't expect me to jump for joy like you want only to take my happiness away," said Naruto as he looked her dead in the eyes and saw sadness in the equally blonde spiky-haired woman. "I am so tempted to using a zero on this place right now and killing all these fuckers for hurting the brat," thought Grimjo as he could practically feel the same thing from Tia and walked over to the boy to set the record straight. "I don't know about those other morons that lied to you, kid, but we're not messing with you and we really do want to be your parents," said Grimjo as he couldn't believe he said the word and that it involved him of all people. "Really? You're not pulling my leg and just saying that only to laugh at the end at my expense?" said Naruto and was surprised when the woman kneeled down in front of him to look directly into his blue eyes. Naruto, I swear to you on my Zanpakuto that we are here to adopt you, and we will use all of our powers to make sure that you grow strong under our guidance, said Tia, as she saw the boy tear up with joy and then tackle her in a hug. Thank you. Thank you so much. You won't regret this. I promise. Said Naruto, as he cried right on her shoulder and soon found himself drifting off to sleep in the former female Asapa's arms. Alright, enough of this mushy stuff. First thing we both need to do is eat something, then we need a place to stay, and then we're going to deal with these fuckers that made the boy's life miserable, said Grimjo, as he found it weird to see Tia holding a child in her arms so gently and close to her body, since the woman had always kept a personal barrier that no one was supposed to cross. Agreed. I saw a small stand not that far our location when we first came here. I'm sure we could acquire something there, provided we only threaten the owner to not charge us, said Tia, as they didn't have any money on hand and knew little of the currency needed for it in this place. I know the place from the kids' memories. They're one of the few people here that treat him right despite everyone else doing the exact opposite, said Grimjo, as he along with Tia moved swiftly from the area and headed to the small raiment stand. Seconds later, a Anbu squad appeared seeing the mess made on the wall and felt the strange chakra that was still emanating from the area. What do you think? Is it the Kyuubi vessel? Did the fox take over and kill this person on this wall? Said the Anbu captain to the Inyazuka of the team and his canine sniffing the ground. It's hard to tell. The boy was here moments ago. Of that I have no doubt, but, said the Inyazuka shaking his head, while his canine companion went into a whimper and shook in fear. But what? Said the Anbu captain frowning at his subordinate. There are two other things here. They were powerful and I think one of them did this. Not the Kyuubi vessel, said the Inyazuka fearfully at his Anbu captain. The demon has summoned reinforcements. We must quickly inform the councils and the Hokage himself before more of them come to secretly kill us all. Said another Anbu fearfully. Calm down, Hawk. You don't know that. None of us do. If anything, these two powerful beings may have seen what many of have already have with the brat and decided to help the kid for once. Spread out. I'll inform the Hokage while the rest of you search for the brat. If you do find him, but with strange-looking people, then don't engage just yet and send out a pulse of chakra before waiting for the Hokage to show up, said the Anbu captain as he saw them nod and spread out to find the boy. They could only hope the boy was nearby. Ichiraku Raymond stand. So you two are going to adopt Naruto? You're not just fooling with him. Because if you are, said the Tuchi, but was silenced by Grimjo glaring at him with his blue eyes while eating, and Tia was holding the sleeping boy in her arms while contemplating how to eat her meal. First off, old man, I don't like to be threatened by weak people, and if it weren't for the simple fact your food was so damn good along with being kind to the brat I would kill you right now. Second, I want information about this place, and I think you know what kind I'm talking about here, said Grimjo, as he saw the old man look at his daughter Am in the back, helping with the making of the ramen. Am dear, I think it's time you went home and called it a night, said Tucci as he saw his daughter pout and look at him with depressing eyes. But I have so much to learn, Dad. I've finally got your beef ramen special down to the point where people will like it, said Am as she had made the batch the two strangers were eating now and the guy with a strange quarter mask with teeth was eating it up like there was no tomorrow. The lady beside him wasn't so enthusiastic in eating, but Am thought the woman was distracted by the sleeping form of Naruto and the fact people were glaring at the youth in her arms. You can try mastering it tomorrow. You know that is when our busiest day of the week starts and it will be the perfect time to test your own version on the village populace, said Tucci as he saw his daughter sulk a little but nodded in understanding and began preparing for the quick walk home. So she doesn't know about the kid holding it, I take it, said Grimjo as he saw the man nod his head and let out a sigh before rubbing his forehead. No. At least I hope not anyway. There is a law in place that forbids people mentioning the connection to the younger generation, but I'd bet this raiment stand that the parents have been secretly breaking it and poisoning their children's minds, said Tucci as he had tried to keep his daughter from being poisoned by the villagers and their arrogance regarding Naruto. Does anyone enforce this law? Said Grimjo as he knew that even Las Notches had laws and they were strictly enforced regardless of how strongly some of the Arankar opposed it. Barely. Doesn't stop them from trying to hurt the poor kid. I actually caught one of the shinobi in charge of watching Naruto one day looking the other way when a group of bastards started to attack him. I basically yelled at the man to do something and he says why should I? Before taking off, said Tucci as he had gone to the Hokage and named names of the people attacking Naruto before the Sandaime decided to intervene himself. Shinobi? From what I've seen around this place, it reminds of the Shinigami from the 2nd Division and do quick kills using speed combined with stealth, thought Tia as she saw the boy stir and then awaken before turning to the sight of slowly cooling ramen. Ramen? "Is this for me, Mom?" said Naruto as he saw Tia stiffen at the name and then he shook in fear of being thrown away from her for saying the word. As for Tia herself, she had never been called that before, but the way Naruto said it was that of affection and love that comes from a parent bonding with a child. Smiling behind her shirt, she turned Naruto fully on her lap to face the stand counter and made sure he was as close to the ramen bowl as possible. "Yes, Naruto-kun. It's all for you. Diggin' son," said Tia as she saw Grimjo look at her in surprise and Tucci smile at the two since he could see how overjoyed Naruto was at this simplest act of affection. "And dig into the ramen bowl," the boy did. Within seconds, the bowl was empty and Naruto let out a content sigh before thanking the woman with another love tackle of a hug. "Hey Tia. Why don't you take the gaki home? I will get you something for later when he's asleep," said Grimjo as he didn't know where that came from within his head or why he even said that to Tia, except that it felt right. Damn. This kid better not make him soft. "Okay. Come on Naruto-kun. Show me to your home for us to stay the night and then tomorrow we'll speak to your Hokage, was it?" said Tia as she found the title to be a bit weird but powerful sounding nonetheless and then looked at Naruto looking happy at the news. Though at the same time she sensed fear from the child. "Okay. Though I have to warn you, my apartment isn't exactly pleasant to look at and the landlord is a jerk to me all the time," said Naruto as he hated the old bitch and the boy wished he could do something about it. "We'll deal with that when the time comes," said Tia as she put the child on her shoulder and the two left with Naruto, pointing her the best way to his home without getting hurt by people. Tia made a special mental note to visit said people in the near future and show them her own personal definition of just what physical pain was when it came to the mind of an Aranker. "Okay, they're gone. Now tell me about the people here and who I should be looking at in case someone tries to hurt Naruto again. Don't get me wrong, I can easily sense when someone will have ill intentions against the gaki, but I'd prefer to know ahead of time and make sure the boy knows who he should be cautious about," said Grimjo as he saw the man nod and motioned him forward so they could talk in a lower volume. "The vast majority of the village is against the boy. Mainly the Uchiha clan, who from my understanding have been trying to get the Hokage to order Naruto's execution since day one, and then you have the civilian council that handles the basic civilian affairs. After the Yondaime died sealing the Kyuubi, they moved in to take more power than they really should. At least, I personally think they've taken too much of it anyway and are split down the middle between death or turning Naruto into a mindless weapon. The clan heads, who all represent their individual clan here in the Leaf, are for the most part still in favor of the boy, but not all the members of their respected clans feel the same way and have tried to hurt the boy by using it to get closer to the kid before attacking. The Hyuga clan, which is one of the most powerful if not influential clan among them, is still on the fence, but I suspect that the clan head wishes to support the boy after how the poor gaki helped save his daughter from being kidnapped by an ambassador from another village during a peace treaty signing several years ago and would do so if it weren't for the fact the elders in that clan are being a pain right now, said Tucci as he let out another sigh. And saw Grimjo looking pissed off at this information. "So Naruto does something noble and they still treat him like he was crap afterwards," said Grimjo as he devoured the rest of his ramen angrily and chugged down the broth before putting the bowl down. "There's more. The Shinobi Council has been among those wishing the boy to be turned into a weapon and there is a man behind them wishing for the same thing. His name is Danzo. He was part of an organization with a leaf called Root, which has secretly been supporting the Hokage from the shadows since its founding, but it was disbanded by the Yondaime after the last Shinobi War, and Danzo seeks to turn Naruto into something that would be monstrous for his own goals. Even though Root is disbanded, he keeps them around using the excuse of having them as a private security force and other loopholes to make sure the Sandaime can't do anything to reintegrate them back into normal Leaf Shinobi. The guy is known for being a war hawk among his peers and wishes to rule over everything with what won't submit being destroyed," said Tucci as he had been in this village all his life, playing the act of a simple ramen stand-on and listened to everything people said while pretending not to hear anything at all. Something the Yondaime taught him when they were teammates before early retirement since being a shinobi wasn't Tucci's thing, but stayed until they all graduated to the rank of Chunin and took retirement from being a shinobi after 5 years of service during the last war. "So many people to hurt so little time," thought Grimjo as he let out a growl and his Zanpakuto was surprisingly doing the same too. "Also, I don't know if I should be saying this, but I think you should also be very cautious of the Sandaime too and anything he may say to persuade you from adopting Naruto," said Tucci as he saw Grimjo now frown at this news and clearly wanted an explanation. "I thought this Hokage was on Naruto's side. Are you saying that there's signs of the man isn't the noble man people think him to be?" said Grimjo as he saw Tucci becoming more nervous and wondered if there was something the ramen stand owner was afraid to say out of fear of being attacked by someone wanting to keep said information buried. As I said, I'm not sure if the Sandaime is actually supporting Naruto or if he's only just doing it to manipulate the boy into staying loyal to the leaf. However, I know for a fact that you are not the first to try adopting Naruto and actually mean it unlike the rest of the Bakas here in the village, said Tucci, seeing Grimjo's eyes widen and then narrow dangerously. Who else tried to adopt Naruto? Said Grimjo with his full focus on this Tucci for this information. I tried when the boy was 4 years old. I got all the paperwork done and presented it to the Hokage himself before telling him I would like to adopt Naruto. That I would raise him, loved him, call him son, and treat him like a human being. The first thing the Hokage tried to do when he heard this was telling me to reconsider my choice in the child I wanted to adopt and that there were other more safer children in the orphanage that I should consider adopting. I told the old man that I wanted to adopt Naruto and no other. Period. I told him that boy is suffocating in that place and he needs to take several breaths outside of it or else the child will never trust anyone around him. The Sandaime just looked at me with a blank stare as if he was telling me that he knew but he just did not care and told me again that I should choose a kid that wasn't such a sensitive case. I told him I knew about the Kyuubi and I didn't think the fox was the boy and wanted to adopt Naruto regardless of everything else. That was when I finally suspected the man was not fully protecting Naruto and had his own agenda, said Tucci, with his face going pale at the memory. You have guts to stand up to the guy, I'll give you that, but I also know you wouldn't be the kind of guy to back down from something like that unless something happened and was given a clear sign to back off from adopting him, said Grimjo, as he knew that even some weaklings have a spine and will use it when fighting for something that they believe in. Correct. I had no intention backing down from this, but the Sandaime then mentioned my daughter and it made my heart nearly stop. You see, my wife had give birth to my sweet girl Layam a few years prior to the Kyuubi's attack on the leaf and then died of a heart attack a few years later from stress that came from giving birth. The Hokage told me that if I didn't stop what I planned to do, he would see to it that my daughter became an orphan just like Naruto and that she got adopted into a clan to become its mate for life. Said Tucci, as he shivered at the thought since the only clans he could think of that would treat his daughter like crap were Uchiha clan and to a slightly lesser extent the Hyuga clan with a modified cage bird seal. So this old bastard of a Hokage is also against Naruto while manipulating him to stay loyal for his own reasons. Sounds like some guys I used to know, said Grimjo, as the old man reminded him of Aizen and even Jin to a certain extent. I suspect he's up to something. Though what it is I don't know. All I do know is that he's not looking after Naruto's best interest. Otherwise, he wouldn't have announced the boy had the Kyuubi sealed inside of him for the whole village to hear and do more in trying to protect Naruto from harm, said Tucci, as he had to think about his current family and couldn't adopt Naruto, knowing that something bad would happen if he did before the ink was dry on the adoption papers. Well, that's going changer. My name isn't Grimjo Jijijakas. Said Grimjo, as he now had to deal with paying the man for the food and realized he had no currency to do it. Don't worry about paying me for the food. It's on the house. You taking care of that boy is more than enough payment for me in my book, said Tucci, as he had given Naruto a few free bowls in the past and helped when he could to fill the young kid's stomach. You're alright, old man. See you around, said Grimjo, as he got a few feet from the stand when an elderly man in full battle armor and helmet appeared with a small army of masked shinobi ready for a fight. Who are you? Where is Naruto? Said the elderly man, who was the Sandaime, and saw the former Espada turn to look at him with those dangerous blue eyes that reminded the Hokage of a predatory animal. Who wants to know? Are you by chance that so-called Sandaime Hokage of this village I've heard so much about? Said Grimjo, as he saw the shinobi around the man tense and the Hokage in question take a few steps forward. I am. Now I'll ask you again and I expect an answer. Where is the boy? Said the Hokage with more edge in his voice and what he got from Grimjo was a grin. A grin that turned into a laugh that echoed throughout the village in the dead of night. Oh, this is too much. I was actually hoping to run into you earlier tonight, but I decided against hunting you down until tomorrow morning and talking about adopting Naruto, said Grimjo, as he saw the shinobi around the Hokage stiffen, and so did the Hokage himself. You wish to adopt Naruto? Why? Who are you? Said the Hokage, as he heard some of his Anbu were whispering demon lover and Kyuubi worshipper, along with some others that they carried over to the former Espada's ears. Of course I want to adopt the Gaki. The only question I have for you, you old fart, is why the hell not? Said Grimjo, as he saw the Sandaime looking nervous now and knew that the old man wouldn't dare break his own law even if the people did so themselves. You will talk to Hokage-sama with respect. Said an Anbu with gravity-defying silver hair. Respect? Why would I show him respect? Tell you what, old man, I'm tired right now, my friend is currently taking Naruto home and I'm going to join her. We're going to talk to you about this in the morning when we've all had our sleep, and depending on what we hear will decide the future of this place along with all its inhabitants," said Grimjo as he vanished from the Hokage's sight and made everyone nervous. "Hokage-sama, what do we do?" said the Anbu as he saw the Hokage let out a tired sigh and turned to look at them. "Nothing for now. We will deal with them tomorrow. There is no lying in that man when he said we would speak to me in the morning. Keep an eye on Naruto's apartment but make no move against the boy or these two strangers unless they do something that may harm the boy." "Understood," said the Sandaime as he saw them nod and then departed quickly from his sight. Naruto's apartment. Tia frowned at the sight of Naruto's home and had to bite back the growl that wanted to escape her throat, knowing that the boy may misinterpret it being disappointed with him. The apartment Naruto lived in was crappy to say the least, as there was a thick line of weird mold in one corner of a room, a splintered table in the kitchen barely supporting anything placed on it, the fridge where food was kept looked rust in over a third of its outer design, and the smell coming from it made the former Espada want to vomit. She was actually glad that her stomach was empty right now because if it were filled with ramen, then it would soon be empty again and her contents would be on Naruto's floor. The bedroom was no different. An open closet filled with little to no clothing, a patched-up window that had been broken several times by the bed, and the bed itself was just a simple mattress on the ground with shitty patchwork that barely kept some of the springs in place. "I'm sorry it's not much, but it's not easy keeping this place clean given how little I have and what people will throw out to replace with something new," said Naruto as he had taken what people threw out and scavenged through what materials he could for his own home. "Don't worry Naruto-kun. Soon this will all be just a bad memory," said Tia as she was finding it difficult to keep her anger in check and found the only thing remotely worth sitting and much less sleeping on was the couch. "Thanks mom. I can call you mom, right?" said Naruto as he was a bit unsure about it since the woman was tense when he first called her that and didn't know how else to address former Espada. "Of course you can son," said Tia as she saw him smile a true smile instead of the fake one he had been using the whole time and made the former Espada's heart ache knowing this kid had suffered so much in such a short time due to the pathetic humans in this small village. Once again Naruto hugged the Arankor woman again, only tighter this time, as if he still feared this was fake or some kind of dream that he would wake up from to find himself in this hell these people placed on him. Even now, Tia heard Naruto whispering for her to not leave him, let this not be a dream, and if it was that he never wake up from it no matter what. There was a knock on his apartment door, which ended the moment, and for a second Naruto's entire body stood rigid from bad memories. People had clearly deceived him with gentle knocking, instead of kicking down the door to come after the poor boy. "Who's there?" said Naruto, as he wasn't going to let anyone in unless it was his soon-to-be adopted parents, and only then if it was really them. "It's me Gaki. Your future old man Grimjo Jijijakas," said Grimjo as he was waiting outside for the kid to open up the door, or Tia for that matter since kicking it down would no doubt bring back bad memories for Naruto. "It's him Naruto. I can sense his spiritual energy," said Tia as she walked with the boy to the door and opened it to reveal Grimjo in all his former Espada greatness. "You were right mom. What is spiritual pressure? Is it like chakra?" said Naruto as he had heard the word before and been in the boring classes that held it. "Chakra? What the hell is that?" "Never mind, I don't want to know right now and is not important to know until later on," said Grimjo before he waved his hand like he was swatting the question away. "There is more to be concerned about than that," said Tia as she moved away from the door to show Grimjo the state of the boy's home and the smell somehow flooding his senses, causing his face to go green before he managed to force the growing vomit back down his throat. "Holy shit. It smells horrible in here. Okay. That's it. We are not living in this piece of crap place. Sorry kid, but you know it's true and it needs to be done," said Grimjo as he saw Naruto look down sadly and once more the former Espada found his heart aching at the sight of this kid's sadness. "I know. It's just I have no other place to go and the old man said it was the only place he could get at such a low price," said Naruto as he heard the man growl angrily and feared it was aimed at him. "Grimjo. You're scaring Naruto. He thinks your anger is aimed at him," said Tia as she knelt down and hugged the boy while glaring at the former Espada with "Be careful when you're angry you baka" look while soothing the troubled blonde. "What? I'm not angry at the kid. I'm angry at that old bastard of a Hokage for leaving the kid in this state of a mess and doing so little about it," said Grimjo as he looked at Naruto and saw the sadness in the boy's eyes that had experienced years of anger at the hands of others, blaming him for things that didn't even happen when he was around. "So where are we all going to sleep?" said Naruto as he saw his future parents look at each other in thought and then looked back at the boy. "Naruto-kun, are all the rooms on this floor empty?" said Tia as she knew that the boy must have explored the other apartments in this building and used them to hide from his enemies. "Most of them. I use the air vents to sneak around to the other rooms during the winter since mine has little heating, but the landlord has all the keys and checks the rooms every so often to make sure I don't get in them, said Naruto, as he had nearly been caught on a few occasions, but the landlord couldn't prove it and would only cause problems in the long run with the Hokage. At least it was what Naruto thought. Well, I think it's time I had a chat with the landlord about the use of one of the rooms here and have the three of us stay in one of the good apartment areas for the night, said Grimjo, as he was about to leave when Tia put a hand on his shoulder and shook her head no. Let me. This will give you time to bond with your future son, said Tia as she walked out of the room and Naruto told her it was the fourth door on the right at the end of the hallway. Joy thought Grimjo sarcastically in his mind as he looked at Naruto and wondered what he could do with the kid to bond with him. As for Tia, she was walking silently towards the old woman watching over this place and making sure Naruto's life was miserable just to appease the old bat's arrogance. Tia may have been new to being a parent, whether by that of blood or in this case of adopting the boy she found herself cherishing. However, Tia knew that what she was feeling was what a mother would feel for their child and was going to show this pathetic old bitch of the human race what it means to invoke the wrath of a mother. Especially if that mother is the former member of the Espada and the third strongest of their ranks. Knocking on the old woman's door hard, Tia heard the bitch complain about being visited in the middle of the night and hoping it was Naruto so she could beat him with her ivory cane. This made Tia narrow her eyes at the door with balled-up fists and red energy for a ball in each hand, though she held it back with great difficulty in order to speak to the old hag first. Then, when Tia heard enough, she would blast this bitch into oblivion and take what was needed without regret. What do you want, miserable little demo? I'm sorry, dear. I thought you were one of my more disruptive tenants, said the old landlord of a woman as she switched from her angry at Naruto face and put on her welcome to my apartment complex, I hope you have lots of money kind of face. I see. As for one of your disruptive tenants, would that just so happen to be a blonde boy and goes by the name of Uzumaki Naruto? Said Tia, who got the results she wanted with the old hag becoming angry at the mention of the boy and looked like she wanted to spit on the ground just to get the means to speak the kid's name properly. That's him. What did that monster do now? Said the old woman as she had used all of her power to tax the boy and kick him out of her apartment. Nothing. Though I'm sure that cannot be said the same for you, said Tia as saw the woman snarl at her and try to close the door before the former Espada stopped it with just the tip of her fingernail. Anything I've done to the boy is strictly legal. If the boy doesn't like it, he can leave this place and never come back. Said the old woman as she was in no mood to speak to a demon lover and would have tried to shut her door again had Tia not used her spiritual pressure to freeze the old bitch in her tracks. I doubt it. You along with the rest of this village have hurt Naruto for the last time. It's almost a pity you won't live to see Naruto become what he should have been from the start. Almost, said Tia as she slugged the old woman in the chest, which upon impact had blasted the old bitch to piece and scattered her old body parts throughout the room. Now it was time to give Naruto a new and much better place to sleep for the night. Hokage's office the next day. The Sandame sighed as he was not looking forward to this day and was regretting it with every fiber of his being. The Anbu had felt high concentration of strange energy coming from the slightly run-down apartment complex Naruto was in and sent them to investigate while the trio were here in his office. Hopefully, they would be able to get some answers and figure out just what was going on. You can't bring that thing in there. Said the secretary outside and then the Sandame heard a scream before metal was slicing through flesh before the door was kicked open in the span of 3 seconds. Anyone else in this building or you have in this village that wants to die at my hands? Said Grimjo as he had his hands in his pockets and saw the Sandame looking at him with old eyes. Please don't do that to anyone else while here, said the Sandame, though the grin he saw on Grimjo's face told him it fell on deaf ears. That depends. Are you going to tell us why Naruto is hated? Are you going to explain to me why you're secretly sabotaging my future son's life with all this hatred for something that's not his fault? Said Grimjo as he saw the Sandame scowl at him and then look behind the former Espada to see Naruto was not with him, nor was the man's partner in this. Where is Naruto? Said the Sandame as he was not about to let this man take Naruto away from the leaf and what he wished to accomplish with the boy. He's safe. In fact, Naruto is safer now than he would be in his shithole of an apartment you stuck him with and I have a mind right now to use my powers to give this village of yours a new asshole. Now stop stalling and tell me what I want to know or I will do just that. Said Grimjo as he brought his spiritual pressure down on the Hokage and saw the man hold onto his desk for dear life while looking up at the former Espada. You're not a normal person are you? Said the Sandame as he saw Grimjo smile again and raised his with his palm with red energy now forming around it staring the old cage right in the face. Let me put to you this way. You either tell me what I want to know or I kill you with this attack. Then I use it on your family, your friends, their family, and so on and so forth until I get an answer to all my questions, said Grimjo, as he saw the old man nod his head and silently submitted to the rancor before him. In an instant the attack and the pressure were gone. Alright. Naruto is hated for the Kyuubi sealed inside of him. A law was created to ban people from speaking of it and its connection to Naruto, said the Sandame, which got him a scoff from Grimjo and having the rancor look at him extremely pissed off. Yeah, a lot good that did. They still call him demon, monster, and a whole lot of shit that you don't punish them for. It's still the same thing as calling him Kyuubi. Hell, I was the one who saved the kid last night from being set on fire, and from the looks of things, this isn't a one-time deal with these damn villagers of yours, said Grimjo, as he saw the old cage wince and shrink away like a frail old man. Because he was a frail old man right now in comparison to Grimjo. I do what I can for him, but my hands are tied, and said the Sandame, as he was silenced by Grimjo's spiritual pressure once more and looking into the eyes of a very angry rancor. Don't feed me bullshit, old man. I know you've stopped people from adopting Naruto and meaning well. I know you don't care about Naruto like you claim you do to me. You try to lie to me again, old man, I guarantee you that this village will not live through today and we will take Naruto from here for a better life, said Grimjo, as he saw the old cage struggling to breath and took the spiritual pressure away so the old Sandame could breathe again. I did that to protect Naruto. No one in this village can protect Naruto because they all hate him and his godparents are not here to watch over him like they were supposed to, said the Sandame, seeing Grimjo narrow his blue eyes at him. So the kid had godparent and yet they aren't here. Why? Said Grimjo, as he saw the Sandame flinch and knew that the old cage said something he wasn't supposed to. Because they have their shinobi duties and said the Sandame, as he found his desk thrown out the window and pinned to the wall by an angry Grimjo. You're lying. I warned you about lying to me, but I guess you didn't believe what I said, since any abuse I do to you would be frowned on by Naruto. Well, I highly doubt he'll hate me for roughing you up when I tell him the truth about everything you've kept from him, and I mean everything. Said Grimjo before whispering what he knew about Naruto's lineage as he saw the Sandame's panicked look on face and grinned at getting the old man's attention. Who told you? Said the Sandame fearfully at Grimjo. Let's just say there is someone higher up in the food chain than even me in this life who cares about Naruto to the point of having someone of my caliber watch over the kid since it's clear you're incapable of doing it yourself, said Grimjo, as he was not about to reveal the Shinigami King had brought him here instead of letting him die and rot in the darkness that should have been his misery. I have done everything I could for Naruto given the situation, said the Sandame, as he was slammed hard against the wall by Grimjo and it was clear the rancor's limited patience was thinning out dangerously before him. You did the bare minimum. Well, that stops here and now. You are going to call those two so-called godparents of his back here and they are going to accept their responsibilities to Naruto or else. Said Grimjo, as he had no problem adopting Naruto, but he had a problem with those charged with that responsibility taking off and slacking on the job. I can't. The boy's godfather is elusive due to maintaining his spy network for the village and his godmother swore never to come back here due to the painful memories of losing loved ones from the last war. Even if I could tell them something, they will not act on it and will not come back to Konoha, said the Sandame, as he saw Grimjo grin at him wickedly and was soon face to face with the former Espada. Oh, I think they will. You see, I've been looking at that seal on the boy's body last night while he slept like a rock in my female companion's arms and while I may not understand the seal in general, what I did see was another seal on him that wasn't a part of what his old man did, said Grimjo, as he along with Tia had seen Naruto's seal while the boy was asleep in the female rancor's arms and saw the extra one due to their spirit energy revealing it to them. I don't know anything about an extra seal on Naruto, said the Sandame, but was given another hard slam to the wall and felt blood leak out of the side of his mouth. Lie to me again and I'll break your body until you tell me everything. The seal is faint to see by normal eyes, but it is there and it seems to have some kind connection around his heart. Now before I came here to see you, I asked about the Yondaime and the name of his teacher who also just so happens to be Jiraiya of the Sannin. From my understanding, he is the only living seal master this village has left with his only student in that field being killed when sealing the fox up in Naruto and we both know that someone doesn't have to be a genius to put things like that together since the seal on the kid's heart looks pretty complex. Something only a high-grade seal master could do. What is that seal's purpose around his heart? Said Grimjo as he saw the Sandame look away from him and in response the former Espada slammed the Hokage against the wall 4 more times with the sound of bones in his old body break like toothpicks. Alright. I'll tell you. It's a special dead man switch Jiraiya put on Naruto in the event the boy is possessed by the Kyuubi and needs to be terminated by using a hand sign only I know aside from the seal master himself. When the seal activates, it strikes the heart like a bomb and causes it to explode from the inside out to quickly kill the boy's body, along with the Kyuubi itself, said the Sandaime, as he had been told of it by Jiraiya after the sealing was done and told the councils about it to spare Naruto an execution that several people demanded from the start. I highly doubt the boy's father would approve of such an action if he was alive, and even less on his treatment due to his dying wish for his only child to be seen as a hero of your miserable human race, said Grimjo, as this news was pissing him off and didn't like the idea of this old man having that kind of power over his future adopted son. It's only temporary. That's what Jiraiya told me. When the boy is old enough, the seal will vanish and he will be none the wiser of it, said the Sandaime as he saw Grimjo snarl at him and slam the old cage's body into the wall again. Oh, I bet it would vanish. Right after the boy's mind, body, and spirit were forced into submission by you with the help of all the cowards in this place, wanting to get their licks in before such a thing happens. So here is what you're going to do. You're going to send those two a message. You tell them that Naruto has had an incident with the fox's power, but is now stable again, and you would like the two of them to come back in order to give the kid a checkup. Tell Jiraiya that the extra seal didn't work, and you fear the Kyuubi may have found a way to neutralize it, so you need him here to inspect it again. As for the other one, tell the woman it is extremely important she comes back and that her godson needs his godmother now, said Grimjo as he saw the old cage weakly nodding his head and the Arrancar let the Hokage go with the injured man landing on his now sore ass to think about everything that's happened in such a short time. Who are you? What are you? Said the Sandaime as he saw Grimjo now leaving his office and stop at the door to look back at him. My name is Grimjo. Grimjo Jijirjakas. And as for your question to just what I am. What I am, you old fool, is Naruto's father, and it would be in your best interest to not forget that, said Grimjo as he left the room with a grin on his face and was now laughing the whole time. It was laughter to Grimjo, but to the Sandaime it was the sound of doom for the Leaf and anyone else involved in the conspiracy against one Uzumaki Naruto. Tia Harable watched her adopted son with sharp eyes in the park while the boy was on the swings as he told her what they were and how they were fun to be on. The former Espada wasn't sure about that, but then again Naruto was only boy and had yet to learn his new powers, along with being taught some of the more interesting things that they could be used to make one's life easier. Tia noticed some of the parents watching their kids before they noticed Naruto was on the swings and were now glaring at him. Naruto of course seemed oblivious to all of this due to the fact his adopted mother was here and fully believed that she would stop any harm from befalling his person until he was capable of defending himself. Is this what it means to be a mother? Thought Tia as she saw a man now walking over to Naruto and drew a knife from his pocket. She moved behind the man using Sanito and grabbed Bastard by the neck before lifting his body off the ground. The man tried to get free but found himself unable to when a hand went through his back and was then thrown away to the side while the other parents watched the scene in horror. Tia could have killed her son's would-be assassin for trying to attack Naruto, but that would have been too merciful in her green eyes and felt a more effective example needed to be made on those with the intention of hurting the boy. Upon looking at Naruto, the boy was awed by her mastery of speed and strength used to protect him from harm. She could tell that Naruto wanted to learn how to do that if he could do it at all and hoped to one day learn from her if not from Grimjo. She smiled at that, but the problem with teaching Naruto wasn't in the boy's inability to not do what she or Grimjo could do for that matter. The problem was that dormant dead man switch on Naruto's heart as it brought out her instincts in telling her that if activated, it would kill the boy and she would be unable to stop it. The very thought of Naruto dying filled her with a sense of anger she had not felt since her Frachian died in battle at the hands of the Shinigami Captain General if not more. At least her Frachian died in battle, while Naruto would die in a cowardly act by the hands of foolish arrogant humans. If that ever happened to Naruto, the former Espada didn't know what she would do, but what Tia did know was it would be violent and there would be countless deaths at her hands. Excuse me, said a whispery voice, which got the female Arrancar's attention if just barely due to the quietness of the voice, and looked down to see a shaking pale-skinned girl with wide eyes looking back at her. Yes, said Tia, as she kept her voice civil, but sharp all the same, and looked at the girl fidgeting in her presence. See, could I please sit on the swing next to Naruto-kun please? Said the girl, as she saw what the woman did to the man attempting to hurt Naruto, and saw this as her chance to be next to the boy. You may provided I have your name first, said Tia, as she saw the girl nod again to her before bowing her head in respect and tried to not to tremble so much. My name is Hyuga Hinata and I am the heiress to the Hyuga Sea clan, said Hinata, seeing the blonde woman nod her head slightly. My name is Tia Harable. I am Naruto's new mother, said Tia, as she saw the girl look at her in awe at her new title in connection to Naruto and then bowed again before she rushed over to the swings to sit next to the blonde boy. The former Espada watched with interest as Naruto talked with Hyuga Hinata like they had been friends for years and seemed to trust the girl and not to backstab him like so many others had. She would ask Naruto about it later since it was clear the two had some kind of history, but now was not the time to pry into it and decided to watch the two have fun. "Hey. Get away from the Hyuga heiress, you demon," said the branch family member assigned to watching Hinata and activated his Byakugan before trying to attack the boy with his gentle fist. Tia was going to interfere when Hinata of all people stepped in the man's path and glared at the branch member trying to hurt Naruto. The branch member, while hating Naruto for what he held, could not willfully endanger the Hyuga heiress without the risk of facing the girl's father, who was also the clan head, and the pain of the cage bird switch being used. So the man had to leap away at the last possible moment before his strike and look at the Hyuga heiress with surprise while those around her did the same. "Leave him alone," said Hinata as she saw the branch member look at her in disbelief and then at the shocked boy behind her. "Hinata-sama, you don't understand. This boy is not who you think he is. He's a demon underneath that human skin and will kill you when your guard is down," said the branch member as he wanted to say more, but the Sandame's law forbid it and knew that the girl would tell her father that he broke it. "No, he's not. It's because of Naruto-kun that I am even in the leaf instead of Kumo," said Hinata as she knew it was thanks to Naruto and his skills with pranks that caused the ambassador to slip up in his kidnapping that allowed her father to kill the man. Hinata may be shy around the boy, if not most people after what happened 5 years ago, but when someone tried to attack Naruto for whatever reason, a fire inside of her body seemed to explode and command the young heiress to stand up to everyone around her trying to hurt the blonde. It was like a whisper turned yell when it told Hinata to stand up to others, and the yell so far had only happened when people were trying to hurt Naruto. "And he is also the reason your uncle is not here right now," said the branch member as Hyuga Hisashi had died for the sake of the main family so his twin brother could not and created a rift in the clan itself. "You can't blame him for that," said Hinata as she saw the branch member snarl in rage and charge again with the consequences behind his actions be damned. He was about to hit his intended targets when a kick to the Hyuga's face sent the branch member flying into a nearby tree that shattered upon impact. However, the kick itself did not come from Tia and it certainly didn't come from Hinata herself. It came from Naruto leaping from the swing and kicking the man with all his might. "No one attempts to hit Hinata-chan for whatever reason and gets away with it," said an angry Naruto as he was now in front of Hinata looking at where he hit the now injured Hyuga branch member and missed a blush that was now covering her face. That kick was powerful for a kid his age. Interesting, thought Tia as she walked over to her adopted son and saw him look at her sheepishly. "I only saw a glimpse of the kick that dad did the other night and I tried to pull it off myself," said Naruto as he knew his mom would want an explanation on how he did that and didn't want to make her angry with him. He did that just from seeing Grimjo do it once. The kick wasn't powerful like mine or even Grimjo's by our standards, but the fact he could pull off a kick just like it with devastating results on the target of the kick is staggering. What else can Naruto do if he were taught? Thought Tia as she gave the boy a nod of approval and Naruto smiled back at her while bathing in the praise given. How are we going to explain this to your father, Hinata-chan?" said Naruto as he knew his actions while noble may have been considered an insult to the clan and could cause problems for Hinata in the future. "Father will understand everything when I explain things to him," said Hinata as she was looking from Naruto to Tia and could tell that this woman was not like others in more ways than one, though she dared not use her bloodline to find out how different the former Espada really was. "Thanks, Hinata-chan. You're the best," said Naruto before giving Hinata a hug and the girl turned red with her body going limp from fainting. "Phew," thought Tia as Naruto began to panic and looking for his mother for help. Taking pity on her adopted son, the woman took Hinata from his arms and placed the girl on a nearby park bench before waiting for the Hyuga heiress to wake up. When the girl did, she instantly apologized for fainting on Naruto and Naruto himself was quickly apologizing at the same time. It made the former Espada want to laugh, which was something she didn't think was even possible given her personality and decided not to laugh for her son's sake. Instead, the female ranker just watched the two interact with one another and wait for Grimjo to finish his meeting with the Hokage. Konoha several days later. Jiraiya of the Sannin walked through the gates of Konoha, his heart while still feeling young had felt itself becoming strained like his old sensei's no doubt was, and after what happened with Naruto, if the message was any indication the Seal Master didn't blame him. Jiraiya had put the dead man switch on the boy shortly within the hour after the sealing of the Kyuubi into the boy's body being done, as he felt this was for the best, while the Sandame took care of the boy for the next couple of years and had to lie to Tsunade about her only godson being dead. It wasn't easy to fool the slug Sanin due to her superior medical skills, as he had to use a blood clone after drawing a smile vial of blood and perform the special hand signs to make it seem like it was actually a dead baby's body before his teammate. As for the life expectancy of the clone itself, it would be the out of 6 full hours before its body broke down, and by that point, Tsunade was long gone from Konoha with Shizune at her side to help the Sanin through the next couple of years' worth of grief. The one thing Jiraiya feared when he made that plan with the Sandaime was the fact that if Tsunade discovered what he had done, she would destroy him in every sense of those words if caught and had to restrain himself from telling her the truth when she broke down crying when shown the fake body. Jiraiya had asked the Sandaime why were they doing this to her, and his old sensei merely stated that she cannot be trusted to act in the best interest of the village when it comes to Naruto before leaving it at that. Walking through Konoha, the Toad Sanin headed straight for the Leaf's hospital, where Naruto was according to the message the Sandaime sent and would be sedated until the secondary seal could be inspected before possibly being improved. As Jiraiya walked, he felt a strange sense of dread fill up in his soul, and it was an old feeling he had not felt in a long time since the day he went to peep on the hot springs where Tsunade had caught him before beating the Sanin within an inch of his life. Why was it back now? Tsunade wouldn't dare set foot in Konoha again after the loss of Nawaki, Dan, Kushina, and then Naruto being the last straw of all four of them, thought Jiraiya, as Kushina had died in childbirth, which wasn't Tsunade's fault, despite losing the redeeded woman from complication that had sprung up during the pregnancy, and the Kyuubi knocking on their doorstep, not help much either. Shrugging it off as just him starting to get old, Jiraiya entered the hospital and went to the floor the receptionist told him to go to, that was the 5th floor. Once done, the Sanin walked down the rows of rooms around him until he reached room number 544 and then opened it to see Naruto sedated for him to inspect the Shinigami seal, along with the dead man's switch. What he saw was Senju Tsunade, the slug princess, and fellow Sanin turning to face him with murderous eyes with a man with skull-like mask on his lower right jaw, grinning evilly at this situation. "Hello Jiraiya. We need to talk," said Tsunade as she spoke the last word in a way that Jiraiya knew was anything but talking to him, and the Toad Sanin would have run for his life had it not been for Tsunade's assistant standing behind him to cut off his retreat. "Sorry little man, but you're not going anywhere until we all get some answers, and of course you remove the dead man's switch on Naruto's body," said Grimjo as he saw the Jiraiya face go pale and Tsunade's face go red with anger. I don't know what you're talking about. Honest Tsunade Haim. I don't really know what is going on, and as for Naruto, he's dead," said Jiraiya as he saw Grimjo shake his head at him and then saw Tsunade grab his coat before throwing his body into the room where the former Espada put his foot on the Sanin's neck. "You damn liar. You fucking traitor. How dare you lie to me? You and Sensei both," said Tsunade as she saw Jiraiya trying to get out from underneath Grimjo's foot, but he stopped when the Arrancar brought out a Zero to the Toad Sanin's face, ready to unleash it should the man continue resisting. "Your old teammate and I had an interesting talk before your arrival here, you bastard," said Grimjo as he remembered how Tsunade had come to the hospital yesterday based on a lie, though it was a different lie from the one he made the Sandaime write to Jiraiya and made the third Hokage sign the adoption papers so he along with Tia would be Naruto's parents. Flashback Konoha Hospital the previous day. "I hate being here in this place. So many bad memories are here and too few good one," said Tsunade to herself as her assistant Shizune was right behind her and taunted in the assistant's arms. "But the Sandaime desperately needs you, Tsunade-sama. Surely you couldn't deny his request for medical aid on his aging body," said Shizune as she had read the message the Sandaime sent her about him having heart problems from the stress of being Hokage and requested the slug princess come back to help fix the problem. "I know that, Shizune, but Sensei shouldn't be Hokage anymore and should find a damn successor already instead," said Tsunade as she entered the room where the Sandaime was supposed to be and found in the old man's place a spiky blonde-haired dark-skinned woman with her face being covered by the collar of her white shirt. Beside the face-covered woman was an equally blonde-haired blue-eyed boy in her arms, while a man with wavy blue-haired and blue-eyed man with a piece of a skull on the right side of his face. Before Tsunade, Shizune, or Taunton could react, they soon felt an intense pressure fall upon their person that made them fall on all fours. Or in Taunton's case it was her belly. "You're here first. Good. I was hoping you would be here before the other guy since we have a lot to talk about," said Grimjo as he walked around the bodies and shut the door before he along with Tia let up on the spiritual pressure. "Who are you? Where is the Sandaime?" said Tsunade as she got up from the ground and was ready to fight if not for Grimjo grabbing Shizune by the neck. "Keep your panties on, lady. The old geezer's fine. His regular doctors took care of the injuries I hit him with a few days ago upon our arrival to this shithole. I asked him to write a letter to you and your teammate to get you both back here. Each with a different reason since I wanted to ask you both questions separately about your godson Uzumaki Naruto, said Grimjo, as he saw Tsunade look at him angrily and knew she would try to punch him the instant he put Shizune down. What questions? And what about my godson? My godson is dead. He died the day of the Kyuubi attack, said Tsunade as she heard a whimper behind her and saw the blonde-haired boy's sorrow-filled eyes with the woman's green ones looking extremely angry. Okay. I see how it is. So the next question I give you will decide the fate of your dear assistant here, with me snapping her pretty neck should the answer you give resulting in pissing me off. Are you saying Naruto is dead because you think that he's a demon and abandoned him? Or were you lied to and told Naruto was dead? Said Grimjo as he saw confusion on Tsunade's face and then saw the woman look at Naruto again. What are you talking about? Jiraiya and the Sandaime showed me my godson's body in the morgue. He said that the sealing took the child's life because there was so much of the demon's chakra flooding his system that it poisoned his body, said Tsunade as she saw Grimjo frown and looked at Tia with another frown of her own. Are you saying you don't hate Naruto for holding the Kyuubi in his body, said Tia as she held the boy close to her and felt his heart beating at a much faster pace because of Tsunade's words. Hate him? Why the hell would I hate my own godson? If he were alive, I would have taken him away from the village so I could have at least one good thing from the village after all the things I lost from this place and wouldn't come back until Naruto was a full-grown adult fully trained to defend himself against an entire army of S-class shinobi, said Tsunade as she saw the boy in Tia's arms look at him with hopeful eyes and put everything together. Right answer, lady. Looks like you're going to live to see another day, said Grimjo as he put Shizune down and the woman took a solid leap back away from him while using healing chakra on her throat while rubbing it. So the boy in her arms is Naruto, said Tsunade as she slowly walked towards the two blondes and get a better look at the boy. Do you have a big rack on your chest? Said Grimjo as he grinned at Tsunade who had turned her head and glared at him before turning to face Naruto. Hello, Naruto-kun. I'm Senju Tsunade. I'm your godmother. I was supposed to take care of you since you were born, but I was lied to by someone close to me, and I hope you will give this foolish woman a chance to redeem herself, said Tsunade as she saw him being cautious of her before looking at the blonde dark-skinned woman and then back at her. You promise not to hurt me because of the Kyuubi? Said Naruto as he had been told by his adopted parents about the fox and what he would one day become. Of course, Naruto-kun. I promise, said Tsunade before the boy leaped from the woman's arms into her own and was hugging the Sanin's neck in a vice while saying he was so happy to have his family growing. Well, now that is settled, I think there are some things you need to know about the boy's life here and what was found on him, said Grimjo as he saw Tsunade pry Naruto from her neck and put him on the ground where he headed over to Shizune along with Taunton in order to make more new friends. What things? What has happened to my godson behind my back? Said Tsunade as she looked at Grimjo and then at Tia before they told her what Naruto them about his life here in the Leaf along with a dead man switch placed on the boy's heart by her old teammate Jiraiya of the Sannin. They did what? Yelled Tsunade as her voice had shaken the hospital to its very foundation and was heard throughout the entire village. Is she always this scary when angry? Said Naruto in a whispery voice to Shizune who nodded in agreement and Taunton doing the same. You think we'd make this shit up? Said Grimjo plainly. No. I can tell right away that you're not human and that you have no reason to lie. You didn't even have to stay here in the Leaf with Naruto. Said Tsunade as she saw the two nod and looked at the boy petting Taunton with said pig loving the affection. Damn straight. This kid will become more powerful than you can even begin to imagine and these assholes wanted to force the kid into submission while only allowing a fraction of his potential because they're so damn afraid of what he holds, said Grimjo as he hated people who stunted another person's growth or development out of fear that the potential in the person will make everyone else look like a piece of crap by comparison. I still can't believe Jiraiya would put that kind of seal on Naruto, said Shizune as she spoke for the first time to them during this entire meeting and Tia walked over to Naruto before silently removing his shirt with the boy understanding of what she was doing. Tsunade along with Shizune gasped at just how malnourished the boy was as it was clear Naruto had only recently been given food to combat the lack of nutrients in his body and saw the dead man switch on Naruto's chest where his heart was when Tia touched the part of the boy. Tsunade knelt down to inspect the seal with Shizune as she had seen a few dead man switches placed on several dangerous prisoners during the last war whom had the potential to break free from prisons and this was certainly one of them done by the boy's own godfather. Oh, Jiraiya was so dead when she saw him again. Flashback ends. You don't understand. I had to put it on Naruto. The councils and the people in the Leaf were calling for blood the moment they learned about him holding the Kyuubi when our sensei made the announcement. It was the only way to prevent the boy's execution. Said Jiraiya while trying not to piss himself in front of the two former Espada and his former teammate. And the part about lying to me? The fake body? Said Tsunade as she saw Jiraiya look away and Grimjo put pressure on his neck too near breaking. Sensei asked me too. He felt you weren't responsible enough to take care of Naruto due to your emotional baggage, as he called it that, and wanted you out of the leaf with this being the best way to do it. Sensei knew that if you would be out of the village within an hour if you believed Naruto was dead. He said Naruto would need to form bonds with the people of Konoha and he couldn't do that if the Gaki wasn't in the village, said Jiraiya as he felt Grimjo take his foot off his neck and let out a sigh of relief. That relief was cut short when his eyes landed on Tsunade's high-heeled feet now inches from his face, which in his mind was not a good thing, and looked up to see the angry woman's face. Why? Why listen to him when you knew the people would treat Naruto like crap? You knew I could have protected Naruto from them, and he certainly didn't need to be here to form bonds when everyone around him just want to break him. You knew they would despite that damn seal, and you didn't do anything to stop them from hurting our godson. You didn't even stay to watch over Naruto. Not once did you visit him to make sure he was safe. Said Tsunade as she kicked Jiraiya hard into a wall and picked him up by his collar before shoving him against the wall. I had to choose Tsunade. It was either the safety of the village or my godson. I chose the village's safety. Simple as that, said Jiraiya, who was then punched hard in the gut and then slammed into the ground before Tsunade kicked him into the next room. It was the wrong choice, you baka. Said Tsunade as she was so angry right now to hit just about anything that breathed in this village and rip its throat out. Your grandfather the Shodaime Hokage would have disagreed, said the Sandaime as he walked into the room and soon found himself being pinned to a nearby wall by his former student. And how would you know? Besides, I doubt my grandfather would have done what you did and let these people hurt my godson. Maybe we should do that to your own grandchild. I hear your daughter-in-law is expecting soon and see how you like it. Said Tsunade as he saw the Sandaime flinch at her words and look away from her angry eyes that demanded answers. You don't understand, Tsunade. It had to be done to appease the masses, said the third Hokage before being pulled towards Tsunade and was barely an inch from her face. You did it to appease an angry mob and the councils that used that mob to take all of your power as Hokage. You lost your damn spine and you gave in to the demand of the bloodthirsty masses because you didn't have the strength to do what was right. The man I knew as my sensei would have fought for Naruto with everything he had and not let all the people wanting political power for their own means push him around. You are unfit to be Hokage. Said Tsunade as she saw the Sandaime shrivel up like a tired old man and it made the woman want to puke at the shadow of a man that had been her sensei. Who is going to take my place, Tsunade? You? As I recall, this place brings back bad memories and I believe the whole idea of being Hokage was something you called a fool's errand, if I remember correctly, said the Sandaime as he knew how Tsunade lost her loved ones to the title when they desired to have it and even now saw pain in those eyes his student. I may not be the perfect choice for Hokage like your late successor, but I know would be a far better one than you, and if becoming Hokage means I can use my power to protect my godson from the Bakas that you let run things in this village my grandfather helped build, then I guess I'm your new successor, said Tsunade as she saw Shizune look at her like she was nuts and heard Naruto cheering her on. It was time as Senju once more became Hokage. Hokage Tower meeting room 4 days later. What is the meaning of this? Why did the Sandaime summoning us to a meeting now? Said Uchiha Fugaku as he was called into an early morning meeting with the clan heads and 2 councils to an emergency meeting by the Hokage. If and when the Hokage chooses to have an emergency meeting with us for something important to the village is at his discretion, Fugaku. You know that, said Abiram Shibe, who had sensed growing hostility between the Hokage and the Uchiha clan in the recent years. Doesn't matter. He should make such meetings that do not conflict with the clan head's schedule, said Fugaku as he sat down in his chair and saw the others around him do the same. All of the clan heads or just you Fugcow? Said Tsunade as she turned around in the Hokage's chair to reveal herself to them all and they were all clearly shocked to see her. Tsunade. When did you get back? What are you doing here at this meeting? And why are you in the Hokage's chair? Said a shocked Hamura as he was not expecting this and it was clear that no one else did too. The answers are in order the questions were asked. I got back a few days ago in secret due to a message sent to me by the Sandaime about something important. As for me being here at this meeting, I was the one that had asked for it and as for being in the Hokage's chair, do I really need to spell it out for everyone? Said Tsunade as she saw the Shinobi Council go pale, Danzo's face was red and Nara Shikaku slamming his head onto the table. Troublesome. You spoke to the Sandaime upon your return and he made you his newest successor as Hokage, said Shikaku as he saw Tsunade smirk at him and silently cursed his genius mind. This is an outrage. I will not stand for this. Said Uchiha Fugaku as he was now about to live in this village where another Senju ruled over the village like they had during his ancestor Uchiha Madara's time. The councils and clan heads have no say in the matter in picking a Hokage unless the Hokage dies before naming one. Since the Sandaime is very much alive but also very old, he felt that the title should go to one of his students that has this in her blood, and there is no one in this room with the blood of the Senju in them except me. Said a now smirking Tsunade, seeing the angry looks from the Shinobi Council and Danzo not liking the situation. So this is what this emergency meeting is about. This is an abuse of your power. Said Fugaku, who was silenced by Tsunade's killer intent and any others that wished to join in on denouncing her as Hokage. Abuse of power? How about the abuse in your power? Nearly all of you have abused your powers and been destroying this village my family helped found from the inside out. Do you know why I left in the first place? I left because I thought I lost my godson after the Kyuubi was sealed away, but it turns out I was lied to by my teammate Jiraiya and my old sensei the Sandaime. When I came back, I learned the truth about their betrayal, and I've decided to become Hokage in order to protect my godson from future harm by you Bakas here, along with those outside this room. Said Tsunade, as she saw many of them go pale and the clan heads frowning at him. If I may ask Tsunade-sama, but who is your godson, and why would two of the most competent shinobi in our history do that to you? Said Shibi, as he found no logical to betray Tsunade and wondered if perhaps the Sandaime had lost his mind before coming out of retirement. My godson's name is Uzumaki Naruto. Said Tsunade, as she saw the councils erupt in anger at the mention of the boy, demanding his blood, and the shinobi council also denouncing the child as anything except a demon. What madness is this? Uzumaki Naruto is your godson. I won't accept it. Said Kaharu in anger, as she wanted the boy killed or forced into submission like the Sandaime told her he would do on his terms. I figured as much, which is why I want you all to meet the boy's adopted parents, who will be raising Naruto while I perform my duties as Hokage and making sure no one in the village lays a finger on him until he's ready to return the favor himself, said Tsunade, as she buzzed the intercom and asked Shizune to bring in the boy's adopted parents. The instant the doors opened, an incredible pressure filled the room that caused the all-civilian council members to soil themselves if they didn't already faint. The shinobi council members were in the same boat and the clan heads were gripping the table like it was a flotation device. Even Tsunade herself, well prepared for it, felt the need to cling to the table and wait for the two former Espada to finish terrorizing them all. When the two finally stood in front of the table, they stopped crushing the people around them with their spiritual pressure and saw they had everyone's full attention. So these are the arrogant fools who have been making Naruto's life become filled with misery and loneliness for the past 8 years. Such a pathetic-looking group of human beings, said Tia, as she was clearly not impressed, and the same could be said in regards to Grimjo looking around with a bored look on his face. How dare you? Do you know who I am? I am from the Uchiha clan. I have the power to wipe you out in a heartbeat, said Fugaku, as he rose from his chair and activated his Sharingan eyes in the hopes it would intimate the two rankers. Bala. Said Grimjo, as he hit Fugaku right in the face with his attack and caused the upper body of the now late Uchiha clan head's body to explode. Anyone else wish to test the limits of our mercy on you right now? Said Tia, as she saw the man with the cane glaring at them with his one eye while the other was wrapped in bandages bothered her and made a mental note to run that by the new Hokage later. The man reminded her too much of Aizen. We don't wish to test such limits. However, I would like to politely ask what exactly you are and where you came from. Said Shibi, as his bugs were going crazy inside his body and telling him these two were something beyond anything they had ever seen before. We're rankers. Hollows that have been given Shinigami powers, said Grimjo, as he grinned at the shocked look on their faces, and once more they all shook in fear of them. Hollows. S Shinigami P powers. Said Hiashi, as he used his Byakugan and saw the energy the two former Espada possessed before shutting his eyes off, since exposure to so much energy would only hurt his eyesight. That's right. We come from a world called Hueco Mundo. It's a real nasty place where all the bad souls will go when they die. They then become horrible disfigured looking almost demonic-like creatures with an emptiness within their bodies that they try to fill by devouring human souls for sustenance, said Grimjo, seeing everyone, even the new Hokage herself, go pale with fear, and rightly so, since no one knew about this until today. A while back, a rogue Shinigami used a power in his possession to transform hollows into rankers like us to create his own army, but each ranker was different in so many ways than the last depending on the hollow in question that was transformed and made into an ranker. As for us, we were among the Espada, an elite group within the man's army of rankers, and even hollows that served him due to the rogue Shinigami being so powerful, said Tia, as she saw them listening to their every word and were also quite surprised that there was more than one Shinigami in existence. How did you get here? Said Inuyasukitsune curiously. Simple really. We both died. Different ways of course. However, when we died, the unexpected happened and were granted an audience with the Shinigami King himself. Said Grimjo, as he loved seeing the look of fear in their eyes and knew that to meet the king of all Shinigami was a very big deal. He has been watching you for the last 8 years now, seeing how you've all treated Naruto, and has felt guilty in giving the boy the burden of holding the Kyuubi within his body. Apparently, one of the seal's effects of being on Naruto is to empower him with that of certain abilities like us and needs to be properly trained to master them all. So he sent us to clean up your mess by raising Naruto properly and help him master his powers when they manifest themselves in 2 years, said Tia, as she saw that information sink in and make them all realize what Naruto now was due to the sealing. The boy will have Shinigami powers, said Shikaku, as his eyes widened to their limit and so did everyone else's. The boy must be put into a breeding program at once. The leaf will be invincible, said Danzo, as the idea of having an army of shinobi armed with the power of the death god of death was indescribable and wanted that boy in his root program immediately. Excuse me? You want to run that by us again? Said Grimjo, as he looked at Danzo, a disgusted look on his face and saw the old fool rise from his seat while using his cane to support him. You heard me. The boy will be used to breed countless children who can then be trained to use this power to conquer our enemies, so the Leaf Village is the most dominant place in the world. Even the daimyos themselves would bow down to us with such an army at our command, said Danzo, as he saw several of his associates on the councils nod their heads in agreement, but Tsunade put her foot down before the two ranker could do it for her and glared at old Warhawk with intense rage. That is my godson you're talking about, Danzo. If Naruto's own surrogate parents don't destroy you, then I will in their place, and I promise to see that your suffering knows no end just to hear you beg for death to come, said Tsunade as she saw the man glare back and snarl at the woman for taking this opportunity for power away from the leaf. From him. We will see about that, you senju bitch, thought Danzo as he was going to have his root shinobi pay the boy a visit when his powers manifested themselves and then condition him to be his most deadliest of shinobi under his personal command. There is also one more thing you should know. I'm raising the punishment level on those that have broken the Sandame's law about the Kyuubi, and I know people have. Even as we speak, I'm ordering all financial records be seized from every store Naruto was ever allowed him in for every bit of food he bought, clothing to wear, etc. All the stores that ripped him off in terms of prices will be taxed heavily in fines, every store that has kicked him out will be closed and they will stay that way until I say so. If there is any mention of the fox by the people in any way by the use of the names like Demon Boy, Monster, Fox Brat, and anything else that points towards the Kyuubi inside of Naruto, they will be killed. No exceptions, said Tsunade as she saw those against Naruto protest this while each of the clan heads, minus the late Uchiha Fugcow of course, who were all looking on were pleased by this and glad this Hokage wasn't giving any slack to these idiots. With the meeting adjourned, the two former Espadas saw Tsunade fold back in her chair before going for some sake she had stashed away under her chair, knowing it would come in handy later, and began drinking its contents. Not like she didn't deserve it, as Tsunade had forced Jiraiya to remove the dead man switch on Naruto immediately, effectively taken care of the Bakas on the councils, and basically undid a good chunk of injustice done for the past 8 years in a single day. Yep. Sake was definitely her reward for this well-earned victory. Now that you cleared that mess up, there is one little problem we haven't talked about yet, and it involves Naruto's living conditions with us, said Grimjo, as they had been using the apartment complex building and felt they should get out of there for the sake of the boy. Yes, I know. I want to give Naruto his inheritance, but even with you two adopting him, it will cause a lot of problems with his enemies outside of the village and the attempts on his life by Iwa. The Yondaime made a lot of enemies with them in the last war and single-handedly turned the tide of it in the Leaf's favor, said Tsunade, as she saw the two nod in understanding and felt that they would have respect the boy's father, despite him being a human. The Grimjo, it reminded him of how Ichigo fought and wished he could have met the man personally for a good old-fashioned fight. We can handle anything sent our way, but it is unfair to the boy by not helping him get stronger if nothing is done, and his potential is wasted away like it is now, said Tia, as she had been helping the boy improve his mind in terms of learning, though the boy kind of hated it at first, and female ranker told Naruto that a strong mind with an equally strong body equaled an unstoppable force. That got the boy wanting to learn like a fat guy wanting to eat food at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Too true. I'll have to make the announcement about his heritage when he graduates, but the three of you will be staying in the Namikaze estates until then and help Naruto with mastering whatever powers he may possess, said Tsunade as she saw Grimjo smile and Tia nod silently before the two left to meet Naruto after school. Now all Tsunade had to deal with was informing Uchiha clan matriarch about the death of Uchiha Fugaku because he challenged someone that wasn't afraid of the clan nor to kill said person of the Uchiha clan. That was going to be so much fun. The Konoha Shinobi Academy end of the school day. When all the classes ended for the day, Naruto walked out feeling good about himself as he was asked hard questions that stumped even Sasuke and answered them all correctly. The teacher, who Naruto knew was one of the people that despised him for holding the Kyuubi within his body and wanted to make the boy fail hard in front of others to further crush his spirit. What the instructor got was his big fat foot caught in his mouth and a room now full of shocked students at his accomplishment of outsmarting everyone. It wasn't easy knowing so much, but his adopted parents had been with him to read everything in the book so they could learn about it too and further help the blonde get stronger before his powers awoke in 2 years. Grimjo said that his Shinigami powers would come out when he received his Zanpakuto that will look like a normal sword but was in fact an extension of his inner self, and that Zanpakuto had a name that he would only hear when ready. So until then, Naruto was to learn about the way of the shinobi before he integrated his Shinigami powers into his training regime, which had already started shortly after both Ranker found out about his grades in the academy and helping him get stronger. As expected, Grimjo wanted Naruto to be the king of the academy and beat all the other kids his age, since no son of his was going to be labeled dead last terrible, for the most part agreed, but told Naruto that while at the academy, he should make friends and to gain support from his generation, since she believed they could be saved from all the arrogance that surrounded them. Naruto had no problem with that, as he was hungry to learn, to get stronger, and to make friends, so he could become a legendary shinobi like his parents. Naruto, said Shikamaru, as he managed to run in a small ways without getting winded for once and catch up to the blonde. Hey Shikamaru. How are you doing? Still sleeping your way through all of our class? Said Naruto laughing at seeing a tick mark on his friend's face. Sure, laugh it up Naruto, said Shikamaru since he did sleep through most of his classes but was so smart that he didn't really need to learn all that stuff they learned today at the academy since his mother taught it to him on the weekends with a frying pan to be used to stimulate his mind. Or destroy it. Shikamaru could never understand the concept of hitting the mind with a hard metal object to make it work better. Maybe it was a woman thing. I can because it's funny and true. Oh, did you hear, I got adopted by 2 really strong people nearly a week ago and they've been helping me get stronger. Said Naruto, as he still found it hard to believe that someone wanted to adopt him, but the boy was waking up early every day to learn something new and it was through the Tua ranker that it was possible. Not to mention the new Hokage was also fulfilling her duties in being his godmother by giving him medical checkups along with foods to eat to help combat the malnutrition his body had. After she had the extra seal removed, Tsunade asked the blonde to mold chakra for her to see how much he had right now and was surprised to know he had so much that it was borderline high chunin to low jounin. His chakra control was non-existent because of this, which meant any jutsus Naruto learned that were low level would not work properly in his hands, even if his chakra control had improved, and one such jutsu that was going to be a problem in the future was the clone jutsu. Also, given Naruto's low ranking in the academy due to his instructors being part of it and no one to help teach him at home, the boy's mind was not nearly as sharp as it should be, so that needed to be corrected too. So, Tsunade with the help of the forbidden scroll in the vault in the Hokage's office, showed Naruto the shadow clone jutsu, which unlike other clone-based jutsus, required high levels of chakra to make, and the clones themselves would send everything they knew to the original when they went poof when done. Within hours, the boy had the shadow clone jutsu down, and Tsunade had the hundreds of shadow clones she had him make get to work on studying everything that was going to be taught at the academy to help remove the educational gap the boy had since being in the school. Even now, several shadow clones were performing chakra control exercises and reading up on things his other godparent gave him to learn. In regards to Jiraiya, the blonde boy couldn't look at the toad Sannin in the eyes without being reminded of the betrayal the man had done and putting that kill switch on his body for whatever reason he thought was best. Naruto would tolerate the Sannin's presence, but the man wasn't allowed to be alone with the boy whether training or just hanging out to form some kind of bond with each other. Though such a bond was frail at best and non-existent at worst. Yeah, I heard. You've only been talking about them the whole day when not in class and saying how awesome they are, said Shikamaru, though he was skeptical about what his friend had told him about getting new adopted parents, but the Nara clan heir also didn't want to call his friend a liar about this and would keep his mouth shut about how Naruto was just pulling his leg. That because we are awesome kid, said Grimjo as he appeared behind the kid and made Shikamaru jump 10 feet in the air before landing on his butt. Where did you come from? Said Shikamaru, as he knew for a fact that no one had been behind him moments ago and now this guy just appeared out of what felt like thin air. From the Hokage's tower actually, said Tia as she scared Shikamaru this time and the Nara turned to see possibly the only woman in his mind that could make even his mother tremble in fear. Hi mom. Hi dad. This is Nara Shikamaru. He's been my friend for a while now at the academy, but he's a bit lazy and doesn't really pay attention in class, said Naruto as he saw Shikamaru's eyebrow twitch and Grimjo laugh at the boy's description. This kid reminds me of Sterk, thought Grimjo, since he saw much of Sterk's usual laziness in this boy. I'm pleased to meet you both. "Excuse me, I have to go home now," said Shikamaru, well sensing these two were incredibly strong and decided to ask his father about them since they did say they just came from the Hokage Tower where a meeting was held by the Hokage earlier today. "So how did you do in school today, Naruto? Are all teachers still giving you a hard time for that?" said Grimjo as he saw Naruto nod but knew that the boy's new studying plan was helping the blonde get back on track and at the teachers trying to sabotage him from within the place. The only reason neither of the former Espada blew up the damn building with all of the teachers in it was because Tsunade told them that she personally would deal with that situation in her own way and the two ranker decided to trust the new Hokage. "Yeah, but I outsmarted them today by answering all the questions they threw at me and even told them things not even they knew," said Naruto as he had added in facts into his answers to the questions his teachers asked and saw at least one teacher looking in his book before his face went pale and seeing the blonde was right. "Good," said Tia as she knew the boy would need to learn all he could in the next 2 years because it would be at that point the boy's Zanpakuto would come out and things would be different in terms in the boy's learning. There was also the matter of Naruto's hollow side coming out. The two ranker didn't know when the hollow side would come out since they didn't know much about wizards. Even Grimjo's own experience with them was limited to only fighting 2 of them and that was it without knowing how wizards even unlock their hollow side. They felt the stronger Naruto was as himself, the better for when his hollow side came out and challenged him for his body since that was what the two Espada believed would happen. "Any jerks in your class?" said Grimjo as he knew that while Naruto would make friends, there was also the chance that some kids would try to pick on him and be like their damn parents. "A few. Nothing to worry about though this one kid Uchiha Sasuke has been pushing his weight around like he's something special," said Naruto as he saw his adopted parents looking at each other for a second and frowned at wondering what that shared look was. "Unfortunately, I think your father here made you an enemy since he killed the boy's arrogant father in a meeting and it won't be long before they connect us to you," said Tia as Naruto looked at his father grinned sheepishly and rubbed the back of his head. "Oops," said Grimjo as saw Tia and Naruto face plant. "Oops. Oops. Now I have the whole damn clan on my ass," said Naruto, who saw the stern gaze from Hannibal for his choice in language and Grimjo chuckling at him. "Naruto? Who taught you such language?" said Tia with her "I'm your mother, you will tell me everything" look she was still perfecting. "Dad did well, you spoke to the mean landlord. Though he said not to tell you if asked." "Why is that?" said Naruto as he saw Tia look at Grimjo and the said Espada glaring at him. "Because you're not supposed to until you're much older and I'm not around. That's why you baka," said Grimjo as he quickly ran away with Tia now chasing him and Naruto watched this go on for about 30 to 45 minutes before Tia finally caught her fellow ranker in a headlock. Though they had to cut their antics short upon the arrival of a single Uchiha with a blank expression on his face. "Are you the ones that killed Uchiha Fugaku?" said the young shinobi who saw the two ranker look at him like he was weird and then nod his head. "Yeah. Though for the record, I'm the one responsible for his death and would do it again if I had the chance," said Grimjo as he saw the young shinobi nod his head and then bow before the two like he was grateful. "I see. I apologize to you both for what my late father did in your presence and for the past actions he has led against your adopted son," said Itachi as he saw Grimjo raise his eyebrow and Hannibal just blink once at the apology. "You're not angry at me?" said Grimjo as he was kind of expecting the entire clan to come after them and try to kill them both before going after Naruto. "My father, like most of my clan, is filled with arrogant fools who think only of the clan and our bloodline rather than thinking outward like I have. However, now that I am the new head of the Uchiha clan, I can hopefully make changes to it and for the better," said Itachi as he had long since broken away from his clan and their way of thinking after the last shinobi war. "I wouldn't hold my breath, but if you think it's possible, then by all means go for it and get that damn stick out of their assess," said Grimjo as he figured the clan was still doomed but he had been wrong before and wasn't going to stop this Itachi guy from doing the same. "Thank you. Good luck in your own training, Uzumaki Naruto," said Itachi as he left before Naruto could say anything else and made the blonde wonder if Itachi was really adopted into the clan or something. His mind shifted however as it went from thinking about the odd Uchiha to his stomach and wanting to be fed the one thing it loved most. Ramen. So with that in mind, Naruto's stomach let out a mighty roar indicating what it wanted and the boy's surrogate parents knew better to defy their child's stomach. 2 long years went by after the incident with the two former Espada coming to Konoha and forcing things to be changed from the direction they were going. Senju Tsunade, as the new 5th Hokage of the Leaf, began using her powers to take back what was taken from her position by the councils and finding quite a few problems the governing body of Konoha had done to the village. First, she cracked down on the merchant district of the Leaf and began finding the ones that had mistreated her godson before sending the fool straight to Ibiki for a week. As for the Uchiha clan, the majority of them were furious at the loss of their clan head Uchiha Fugaku at the hands of Grimmjow and demanded swift vengeance against the ranker. Itachi, however, told them that such an act was foolish and his father's demise was something of his own making in provoking the ranker into killing him. Many of the Uchiha didn't want to believe that, even if it was true, since Fugaku had always been temperamental and tended to say things before thinking in moments of anger. As for Sasuke, the younger of the two Uchiha brothers, was angry at Itachi's way of doing things and asked him why they could use their overwhelming numbers to strike back. Itachi merely looked at his brother for a second before poking him in the forehead and leaving the now downed boy on the ground rubbing his forehead. Foolish little brother. The strength of every leaf shinobi in the village combined is not enough to defeat one of those two individuals. Let sleeping dogs stay asleep, Sasuke. Do not provoke what should not be provoked in the first place. Sasuke, however, did not believe that, as he, like his own father, felt the Uchiha clan was destined for greatness and wished to make such greatness a reality. So the boy trained in the shinobi arts almost non-stop, as he ignored everything around him, from fun to having friends and bonding with his classmates at the academy. At the academy, Sasuke was trying to pick fights with Naruto whenever he had a chance to provoke the boy into fighting him and get the blonde in trouble. It didn't work very well, as Naruto's adopted mother had taught the boy patience from the start, and that letting your temper get the best of you was a sure way to get killed at the hands of an enemy. By showing patience against an enemy, the opposition will lose their own and bring themselves one step closer to defeat. As for Naruto himself, he was glad to live in his father's clan home, but was upset that he couldn't tell anyone about it and felt that it was wrong. Tsunade understood why he felt that way, as the blonde wanted to be loved, even if it meant that it wasn't true, and had to explain to Naruto that if the people don't love you for who you are, then they were idiots that don't deserve his love back. It did make Naruto happy that his heritage would be announced after graduating from the academy and was training extra hard, even though his parents wanted him to graduate with the rest of kids his age. In reality, Naruto wanted that to happen anyway, since any team he was on by graduating early wouldn't work out very well, and the blonde had already bonded with several students. Among the group was Nara Shikamaru, Akimichi Choji, Hyuga Hinata, of course, and even a young boy a year ahead of him named Rock Lee he encountered trying to punch through a training post hours after school was over. The two hit it off very well, as they knew what it was like to be picked on by others for being considered different and tried to help the other when they could. Lee's problem was that he couldn't use chakra due to his underdeveloped coils, which severely limited his abilities in being a shinobi of Konoha and threatened to destroy the boy's dreams in being one. Naruto, however, told Lee that if he just kept trying on the one thing he could do, and it would give him a secret edge in battle that no other shinobi had. When Lee asked him to explain further, Naruto told him that shinobi focus primarily on ninjutsu and jinjutsu to a slightly lesser extent. After they deplete their chakra, they don't have the strength necessary to fight back against someone in close quarters and would be overwhelmed in the end. Lee took this to heart and began training harder into jutsu, knowing that it would be his greatest strength that would overcome his two great weaknesses. At home, Naruto practiced when he could on his shinobi skills, while his parents also made sure he learned about his sword that he would acquire by the end of this academic year, and it would be painful since the sword would come out of the seal on his stomach. It wasn't going to be easy, since Naruto would no doubt possess immense spiritual energy coming out of him when the process happened and would have to pull the Zanpakuto out of his body. It was also unknown if the Zanpakuto would remain sealed or unsealed, depending on the amount of spiritual energy that would be released, much less controlled. Grimmjow easily remembered how Kurosaki Ichigo had his sword constantly staying in its unsealed state due to his inability to not control his spiritual energy. But that was at the end of the academic year, and this was now with Naruto sitting under a tree mediating. "Hey loser," said Uchiha Sasuke, as saw Naruto doing his usual routine during breaks from classes and decided once more to pick on the blonde. It was the least he could do for his late father, since the late Uchiha clan head had shown a constant dislike if not bordering hatred for the blonde. It only made sense for Sasuke to keep up his father's work and make Naruto's life miserable like everyone else in Konoha did. "Oh wait, Sasuke. I'm not in the mood to hurt you right now, so please leave me alone," said Naruto, as he had been trying to avoid the Uchiha when the arrogant boy wanted to start a pointless fight and remembered how his parents told him not to fight weaklings like the Uchiha. No matter how much the little pissant deserved a trip to the hospital. "Why? Afraid I'll mop the floor with you? That'll show everyone just what a spineless coward you are, just like your freak parents," said Sasuke as he saw Naruto's right eye open and knew he was getting somewhere. "First off, you should keep my parents out of this since they have more power in one of their hangnails than you do in your entire body and have taught me well. Second, if you want to bring up spineless parents, then you won't mind I bring up your bastard father, who met his end at the hands of my father and died a fool's death, said Naruto, as he saw Sasuke's smirk turn into a sneer and scowl that told the blonde he hit close to the Uchiha's heart. Shut up. At least my father was mine by blood. Not some freak nature who took pity on a mere orphan boy from some whore of woman that didn't want something that should have been drowned in the river, said Sasuke, as he had heard the talk from the others in the Uchiha clan and the village populace when they talked about Naruto. Now both of Naruto's eyes were open. You don't even know anything about my family, except what the people whisper behind my back and only say such lies because that's all they can say to me, said Naruto calmly, though there was an edge in his voice and anyone hearing him talk would know to tread carefully when talking back. It doesn't matter to me if they're lies or not. Your status is low class compared to that of my clan. You might as well be what they say you are compared to someone like me, said Sasuke once again smirking at Naruto as he saw the boy in front of him slowly rise from his sitting position and now noticed all eyes were on them. The smirk left his face when Naruto blasted him with killing intent that forced the Uchiha to his knees gasping for breath while the blonde moved to stand to the left of him before putting hand on Sasuke's shoulder. Naruto squeezed it hard. Sasuke, I'm only going to tell you this once and only once, so for the sake of your life, I suggest you pay close attention. Compared to me, you are full of shit and I will break your body in two if you insult my family again. Stay away from me, said Naruto as he let go of Sasuke's shoulder and walked away before releasing the killer intent so the Uchiha could breathe properly again. This isn't over, you low-class scum. Not by a long shot. Thought Sasuke as he glared at the retreating form of Naruto and vowed to make the blonde pay. Shinobi Academy room 204 at the moment. Look at that thing. The damn creature actually thinks it's untouchable now that it has parents and has the new Hokage on its side. Unbelievable. Said Mizuki as he watched the interaction between Naruto and Sasuke with disdain at seeing the outcome. Don't be so outspoken, Mizuki. You know it will get you in trouble if someone hears you speaking like that. Don't call Naruto it or else the Hokage will find out and she has a zero-tolerance policy on how people treat Naruto, said Iruka as he had to admit there was some feeling of animosity aimed at the blonde at first, but it ended when seeing how Naruto was treated at first and didn't do anything about it like a demon would have if what people had called the boy were true. Naruto wasn't the Kyuubi in his eyes. Typical Iruka. Well, I'm not going to let this new Hokage or the thing's new parents stop me from preventing the demon from graduating, no matter how good the monster's grades are, thought Mizuki as he had tried to make Naruto fail, using every trick he knew and had failed at every turn in making the blonde fail his tests. Mizuki suspected Iruka learned of his actions, fixed the papers before grading them and kept his mouth shut out of respect for their friendship. While Mizuki was glad that Iruka didn't report him, the man also wished that the demon boy was blind, dead, and dumb before finally being dead. I'm surprised a boy showed so much progress in what he learned from my classes. I know some of the other instructors are less than pleased, but if they could get over the fact of what Naruto holds, then I know they would be just as happy and wish him the best of luck, said Iruka as he was seeing a prodigy unlike any other since the Yondaime himself and found a bit of irony in that fact. It shouldn't be here in this academy in the first place. It should be locked up or killed so we wouldn't have to deal with the situation, said Mizuki as he went back to his desk to grade papers and saw Iruka was doing the same with Naruto's paper in hand. Namikaze estates that night. It's time, Naruto, said Tia as she saw Naruto nod his head with a serious look on his face and they went out back where Grimmjow was waiting for them. It was an interesting 2 years for the two rankers in Naruto's mind as they interacted with the boy during that time and he could see there was something going on between them. They of course ignored the feelings felt when near the other, but Naruto could see that while they were together for his sake, the two were also slowly coming together for what they felt for each other and made sure to give them a little nudge every so often, just to be sure the feelings grew. The two still slept in separate beds, but that could change given enough time and some patience would change things in that regard. Okay, Naruto. You know what to do, said Grimmjow as he saw Naruto stand in the center of the field now shirtless after being instructed on what would have to happen for this to work and saw the Shinigami seal glowing in moonlight. Yes, Dad, said Naruto as he ran a hand over the seal and flinched when he felt a power pulsing against his hand. The Shinigami seal soon began to liquefy around his hand, forming a hole in his stomach that frightened Naruto a bit due to the fact he had a large hole in his stomach and there was something slowly painfully trying to leave his body. The boy fell to his knees in pain, screaming out at the feeling of the something that was so massive leaving his body, and yet Naruto endured it all for the sake of his parents. He wanted to make them proud, to show them that their efforts to raise him had brought about potent fruit worthy of them and his late biological family. Now Naruto. Reach in and pull out your Zanpakuto. said Tia, as she hated to see her son in pain, and it felt like an eternity in terms of waiting for the portal to stabilize for Naruto to pull out the weapon. Since Naruto was not meant to have this power to begin with, it was only natural that this be painful, and hoped that it also didn't kill him, despite the Shinigami King not believing it would. At the moment, Naruto was trying to do what his mother told him, as he reached into his stomach and felt for what should be the hilt to his Zanpakuto. If anything, the pain from having the hole seemed to be amplified by having his hand in it, and Naruto gritted his teeth while reaching deep within himself for his Zanpakuto, before he finally felt the hilt of his new weapon. Getting a good grip on the hilt, Naruto pulled with all his strength while feeling his hand burning up like it was on fire, and further blocked out the pain. As Naruto pulled, the hilt began to be seen in the moonlight, and the pain intensified greatly for the boy, while his two parents watched on. They knew this would hurt since the Shinigami King had left them a scroll, indicating on what to do when this day or rather night came where the blonde would receive his Zanpakuto. Hang in there, kid. You're made of tough stuff and will take whatever this world dishes out. Wait. What the fuck? Thought Grimjo, as he saw Naruto's Zanpakuto coming out and made the former Espada's heart nearly stop beating at the sight of it. As to why that was, the Zanpakuto Naruto was pulling out of himself began to manifest into a sword Grimjo had not seen since his battle with one Kurosaki Ichigo back in Hueco Mundo and in the stronghold of Las Notches. The former number 6 Espada watching on wondered if the Shinigami King was messing him, almost mocking the rancor and testing Grimjo's reaction to the sight of the weapon that had bested him in combat with its wizard user. Before Grimjo could even think about that right now, the scream from Naruto shook him out of it, as massive hole that was on the boy's torso was slowly shrinking after the halfway point and was getting smaller until it was removed from his body when the last of the blade left him. With that done, Naruto collapsed onto the flat side of his Zanpakuto and was soon picked up by Tia holding her child in her arms while checking his pulse to see if he was alive. He was. "Let's get him inside," said Tia as she gently picked up the sword and stopped to see the shocked look on Grimjo's face. "It's just not possible. How can Naruto have that sword?" said Grimjo as he stared at the Zanpakuto and memories of his battle with Ichigo kept running through his mind. "What's so significant about this Zanpakuto?" said Tia as she walked with Naruto now back into the house and Grimjo right behind her with a serious expression on his face. "It's the very same looking Zanpakuto that defeated me in Las Notches," said Grimjo as that made Tia stop in her tracks and look back at him with surprise. "The same one that belonged to that wizard Kurosaki Ichigo," said Tia as she knew what he was thanks to Aizen and was one of a handful of the Espada that had taken Aizen's words of caution seriously. "Yes. Though how the kid got that sword, I don't really understand and the thought of it is pissing me off inside," said Grimjo as he followed Tia to Naruto's bedroom and saw her placing him in his bed to get some much needed rest. "Whatever the reason is, don't take your anger out on Naruto and don't tell him the name of the Zanpakuto. Just because it looks like it doesn't mean that it is," said Tia as she had unzipped her shirt fully and gave Naruto a quick kiss on the cheek with her shark teeth-like mouth before zipping it back up again. "You know I won't let that happen. I'd be an idiot if I let my anger get the better of me in the kid's training," said Grimjo as he saw Tia walk up to him and were mere inches away from the other. "Good. The boy is strong, but he's not ready to handle the full force of your power, and mine for that matter until he achieves Bankai," said Tia as she knew that Naruto for the most part would learn the Shinigami way of things first with his Zanpakuto, and that was one of them. "Yeah. The only reason he hasn't crumpled under our spiritual pressure before when we unleashed it was due to his close proximity to one of us cancelling it out. In fact, nothing seems to really freak him out anymore now that the truth about his life is known to him. Remember when he saw your face for the first time in the morning when you tried to eat breakfast before the gaki came down?" said Grimjo as he saw Tia looking away in embarrassment and knew she remembered the moment clearly. It was about a year ago, give or take a few weeks since Naruto was adopted. The blonde had woken up earlier than anticipated for training as the boy was so excited to learn just about everything he could and had seen his adopted mother's face for the first time. Tia had been in the middle of eating some eggs while Grimjo had raided the fridge for the milk that went with his cereal. When the female rancor saw Naruto looking at her now exposed face, Tia's eyes widened in fright at the fear of her adopted son, seeing the face she had hidden from him for so long and then running away while calling the former Espada a monster. Instead, Naruto looked at his mother's face in awe and thought she looked really cool, being among the positive words used by him to describe her face. Tia was so shocked by this since such a reaction was not expected by the female rancor. Grimjo was the same way, as he had always told Naruto not to upset Tia by trying to see what she looked like behind the shirt, and when that moment happened the man had dropped the container of milk on his foot, causing him to let out a string of curses that got him socked in the face by Tia. Naruto of course had to promise not to use those said words until he was much older, and if he did so long as they weren't around to hear them come out of his mouth, there would be no punishment. "That boy isn't afraid of what we are because he's been treated like a monster his whole life," said Tia as she saw Grimjo's smile increase and heard the chuckle leave his lips. "Yeah. Kid's got a good heart. Strange hearing that from a guy like me. I hope I'm not getting soft," said Grimjo as he sensed Tia smirking at him and then wrapping her arms around his neck while moving a little closer into his personal space. "Oh really? I happen to find a man with a rough edge but soft heart to be very sexy and interesting if you will," said Tia as she saw him raise an eyebrow at her and knew that he was wondering what she was getting at with this. "Really? Then you won't mind me saying that I think a woman who is strong with the ability to command is a bit of turn on for me and that your mouth of yours is kind of hot," said Grimjo as he grinned at her and Tia blushed before smacking him the back of the head lightly and former number 6 Espada couldn't help the smirk that grew on his own face. "You must want me to kick your ass," said Tia as she saw Grimjo looking innocent now at her and had to resist the urge to hit him again. "Harder? Who? Me? Well, I always thought it would be kind of hot to meet a woman who could kick my ass since it's such a rare thing," said Grimjo as he saw the upper part of Tia's face ripple in a way that indicated she was smiling at him and heard the small chuckle coming from her throat. "Keep talking like that and I may just grant your wish," said Tia as she let go of him and walked off to her bedroom with a sway of the hips. "Thank you Naruto for pushing us together," thought Grimjo as he along with Tia had known of Naruto's attempts of pushing them together in ways that the boy tried to keep under their radar and had gone with it due to the sake of their adopted son before they felt the pull between them growing. It wasn't long before they went along with it simply for the Naruto's sake. Hokage's office the next day. "I see. So Naruto did what you said he would do," said Tsunade as she saw Tia nod and eyed Jiraiya cautiously standing by the window looking depressed like he had 2 years ago. Even after 2 years, Naruto only addressed Jiraiya by his name and then it was only Jiraiya-san since the boy did not respect the Seal Master at all. Yes. For once, the Toad-san in here was useful aside from training Naruto with all the seals he put up around the house to keep the spirit energy my son unleashed and from being felt by everyone in the village, said Tia as she made an immediate appointment with the Hokage and inform her of the events from last night. "That's good news. I've also been keeping a closer eye on Danzo since you mentioned he reminded you of that Asian guy from that Lost Notch's place and didn't trust him when it came to Naruto. If the old warhawk so much as sneezes into his sake I'll know about it," said Tsunade as she hadn't found much in the last 2 years about Danzo's activities due to the man keeping things tight-lipped and the only thing considered of movement in the last 2 years by the old bastard was sending several messages to the Fire Daimyo. "Thank you. Hopefully, Naruto will bond with his Zanpakuto and know its name so he can begin the next stage of his training," said Tia as she saw Tsunade nodding and then leaned back in her chair. "So what will happen now with Naruto?" said Tsunade as she knew that the boy would still have a difficult time controlling his chakra and now his spirit energy due to what was sealed inside of him. "I don't know. From what I can tell, the Kyuubi has become his Zanpakuto, but the sword itself looks like the one Grimjo was defeated with back in Lost Notches at the hands of a wizard he fought prior to his death and could also have the same name," said Tia as she saw Tsunade's eyebrow go up and lean forward on her desk. "So the name Kyuubi could be just a title now more than anything. Great," said Tsunade sarcastically as she decided to have Hiashi use his Byakugan to see into Chakra Network to see how much of the fox's power was still inside of Naruto and see if he could find out how much was in the sword. Right now, Naruto is getting used to the weapon in his hands and Grimjo is making sure he didn't hurt himself with it, said Tia as she saw Naruto carefully holding the blade and found it to be very light before she left to see the Hokage. "I'm a little surprised the little Gaki would want to begin training right away after such a painful ordeal," said Tsunade as she could sense the woman in front of her was smiling with a sense of pride at the fact her adopted son was pushing himself so hard and had a hand in making Naruto the way he was now. "That's just the way he is and I wouldn't have it any other way," said Tia as she adored her adopted son more than she ever thought possible and her heart would always beat slightly faster every time Naruto called her mother. "Well, just don't overtax him. The boy's a juggernaut just like his biological father and his real mother wasn't a slacker either, but even they had limits," said Tsunade as she remembered Kushina being so energetic and wanting to do so much with Minato right behind her, trying to keep the crazy Reteed out of trouble. Which got them stuck in the hospital with her being stuck to healing them up soon after. "I'll keep that in mind," said Tia as she left the room and headed back to the house to see Naruto's progress. Konoha Academy 2 years later. Naruto was wearing black pants with a white stripe running down the legs, a white t-shirt and a long-sleeved black one over it while he walked towards his classroom for the final test needed to graduate. The blonde boy was feeling pretty good about himself as he had his trusty Zanpakuto strapped to his back wrapped in white bandages that kept it from cutting up anyone around him and had the sword angled in a way that it wouldn't drag on the ground. Once a short malnourished kid who had the Kyuubi inside of him, the blonde was now a much taller and healthier kid about to become a shinobi of the leaf. It had been 2 long years since Naruto got his Zanpakuto out of his stomach, but the sword was not being so cooperative like the blonde wished and found that to be disheartening. Apparently, the spirit that was the inner manifestation of the Zanpakuto had tried to tell Naruto its name, but the boy just could not hear it and made the former Kyuubi vessel irritated on the reason behind it. Flashback Naruto's mindscape. Naruto walked through his head seeing nothing around him at first, before he saw it suddenly manifest itself into Konoha in his mind, but was sideways and found himself standing on a horizontal Hokage tower. It frightened Naruto at first since he thought his mind had gone crazy or something, since neither of his parents mentioned anything like this when they learned the names of their Zanpakutos. Okay. No more sneaking in ramen before bedtime, thought Naruto, as he saw everything was all horizontal from his position and tried to make sure he didn't fall over the edge. Relax. You're safe regardless of how everything looks around you, said a deep calm voice to Naruto's right. Who are you? Said Naruto walking towards the figure with dark wavy hair, see-through glasses, and had some peach fuzz for a beard on his face while wearing a crimson black coat that moved unnaturally in a wind that wasn't there. You don't recognize me? Then again, I guess being over 100 feet tall with red fur and 9 tails leaves more of an impression than this form does, said the figure as he saw Naruto look at him shocked and then in fear since he clearly knew who was talking to him. Kyuubi, said Naruto as he was now fearful due to the fact the figure was the demon fox and didn't have any kind of restraints on him. By title only. That's not my name now that I'm your Zanpakuto. As to why I'm not restrained at the moment, it's because I live within your Zanpakuto rather than inside of you, and yet I'm still connected to your body regardless of that fact, with no means to place harm upon your person, said the fox seeing the boy calm down at this news. That's good to hear. I think. You said the name Kyuubi was a title, right? What is your name now that you're my Zanpakuto? Said Naruto as he saw the fox smirk at him and then try to tell the blonde his name, though all the boy could hear was silence. Judging by your frown, it seems you cannot not hear my name yet and are not ready to hear it until the time is right, said the fox as he saw Naruto frown and get angry at this news. What do you mean not ready? How will I know I'm ready to hear your name? How do I earn the ability to know it? Said Naruto as he saw the fox shake his head and smile at him slightly. When the time is right, Naruto, you will wish to know my name when it matters most, and when that happens I will tell it to you. I wish you luck, said the fox before gently pushing the blonde out of his mindscape and into the real world. Damn. Well, this won't stop me. I will learn your name, fox. Count on it. Thought Naruto as he stared at his Zanpakuto in his lap and almost heard the chuckle from the furball in the process. It was a challenge set by the fox and Naruto was going to complete it. Then flashback. As the 2 years progressed, Naruto learned a lot from the fox despite not knowing his damn name and wished he could call him something other than Kyuubi since titles didn't count in being a name for his Zanpakuto. Grimjo said that sometimes, a Zanpakuto can only be heard by the user during a moment of importance that is thrown at the user of the sword, and when the time was right, Naruto would hear the Zanpakuto's name and speak it when that moment arrived. He just needed to be patient. Why do you still bring me to your classes, Naruto? That one girl with the mouse-like hair who was pestering you about me has already graduated and on her own genin team, said the fox as he was able to communicate with Naruto like this and felt it was pointless of the blonde to carry him to these boring lectures. I know. But you're my Zanpakuto and wherever I go in life you go too, thought Naruto as he remembered how Tenten was gushing at the sight of his blade and wanted to hold it though the blonde had warned her that it wouldn't let her since it was a living sword. It confused Tenten greatly since she never heard of such a thing, but Naruto explained further that it was part of his bloodline. She understood, since abilities of bloodline users could only be used by said person. Sasuke was livid at this news, demanding that the boy show him how to acquire such a weapon and go on about how Naruto's bloodline was weak unless in the hands of an elite Uchiha. Many were surprised when Naruto actually said he would gladly teach Sasuke a lesson in private, though what that lesson was, the blonde didn't specify at all, and the Uchiha's own arrogance prevented him from knowing. Though it didn't take long to know, as the said lead Uchiha of the class was soon found afterwards outside the school hanging from a flagpole in his underwear, and his clothes currently on fire at the base of the pole. Of course, since this happened so fast without anyone seeing it, no one could say it was Naruto, except Sasuke himself of course, but the boy would never admit someone like the blonde did that to him. Needless to say, it was quite some lesson, and not one Sasuke would soon forget. True. Are you excited about graduating today with your friends? said the fox, as he could feel Naruto's happiness and knew the boy's answer before he even said it. You even have to ask. I just hope I get a team that isn't a pain in my ass. You know the councils were bitching to my godmother about how strong I was becoming and that I was leaving the Uchiha in the dust. If things had been in reverse, they would have praised the bastard and said he's just like his brother or some shit, thought Naruto, as he could sense the fox nodding in agreement and the hidden anger at the Uchiha clan. Chances are they will want the teams put together in a way that will put the Uchiha on your team so he can learn what you know after gaining his Sharingan. The only question now upon that possibility is who is the third member of your team, said the fox, as he hoped it wasn't that pink-haired Uchiha-loving fangirl named Haruno Sakura or her rival Ami, also being a Sasuke fangirl, with an even meaner streak in terms of bossing others around. Joy is me, thought Naruto, as he just hoped the Jounin sensei was decent and not some weird person like Lee got last year with the strange eyebrows. But that being said within his mind, Naruto entered his classroom and waited for Iruka to come in with Mizuki of all people while sitting down next to Hinata with the girl now blushing cherry red from the close proximity. Naruto didn't know Hinata had a crush on him when they first met after he got his adopted parents 4 years ago, as he was new to the whole getting affection from others and always had his guard up in the even that the friend was a wolf in sheep's clothing. However, Hinata's friendship to him stayed true and learned later on that the Hyuga girl possibly liked him more than just friends due to his father saying it to his face when the boy asked his mother with a male rancor overhearing it. Dia punched Grimjo right out of the house for that, which was funny in itself at the time, and then the boy's mother set him down for a heart-to-heart talk about relationships. The female rancor didn't know much about them due to her own limited experience, but she did tell Naruto that he shouldn't be afraid to explore such feelings with the girl in question and to see if he wished to return the feelings given to him. It of course was all really confusing to Naruto, even with his adopted mother's help, so the boy searched for another source of information in terms of his godmother, who despite Shizune's secret hand-waving motions to the spiky blonde to tell him not seek the Hokage's advice, got advice on women and a whole lot of things that didn't make sense. Possibly because the Hokage had been drinking a bit of sake after finishing all of her paperwork that afternoon. Shizune, who was possibly the best so far in terms of this matter, had talked to Naruto in private to find out if Hinata really liked him more than a friend and asked him if he felt the same way. The boy wasn't sure as he never really knew anything about crushes, first loves, and what his godmother Tsunade called amongst her drunken stupor to be friends with benefits, with Shizune telling Naruto to forget that for now until he was much more mature. Instead, Shizune had told Naruto not to turn her away, but instead see if he did feel the same way about Hinata in return and list all her positive qualities that could make him possibly return such feelings. That was about a year ago, and Naruto could honestly say he liked Hinata a lot. In terms of more than a friend. The blonde wasn't sure, but he suspected that his feelings did go beyond that of friendship after he felt an anger in him when Inyazuka Kiba came along asking Hinata out one day, and it made Naruto want to slice the team into little pieces before shipping him home to his mother to use as dog food. If it was more than friendship, Naruto wasn't going to let it pass him by and was going to return Hinata's affection any way he could. Good luck in the test, Naruto-kun, said Hinata in a whispery voice, but not in such a stuttering way like it was when they were 8 years old and on the swings. Good luck to you too, Hinata-chan. Though with skills like yours you don't really need it. If anything, luck needs you to make luck possible for anyone who needs it, and I just so happen to be right next to a regular luck-making factory, said Naruto as he saw have a thumbs up and Hinata blush deepened before passing out. You're troublesome, Naruto, said Shikamaru as he saw the whole thing from where he was and saw the boy grinning back in a fox-like way. Says the kid who sleeps in class, watches clouds all day, and is afraid of his mother even when she's not visited by her Aunt Flo every so often, said Naruto as he saw Shikamaru shiver in fear at the last part and laughed at the lazy boy's reaction. That's not funny, Naruto, said Shikamaru as he remembered the last time he walked in on his mother cooking and she was in one of her moods. He barely dodged the kitchen knife thrown at his face that almost took off his ear. It is to me, thought Naruto as he saw the two teachers come in and frowned at Mizuki currently greeting them with a fake smile on his face. Okay class. We'll begin with the final graduation test shortly. Your name will be called one by one while waiting outside the classroom to see if you can do the standard exam required to graduate, said Iruka as he saw the students look eager to graduate and the horizontally scarred in the face wondered how many would be back again next year. Hopefully not too many. Naruto's turn. The blonde walked into the classroom with confidence in each step he took as a new day would come after this one where the name Namikaze would rise again and give Naruto the chance to make his birth parents proud. Tsunade had told him that he had to wait until after graduating, which in Naruto's mind really sucked, but understood the reason and accepted with great reluctance the need to wait until that time. Fortunately, the time was nearly upon him and not soon enough in Naruto's mind. Is it just me or is Mizuki looking like he wants to rip my guts out of my body? Thought Naruto as he saw Mizuki and Iruka looking at him with the latter telling him to perform the standard jutsus to pass. It's Mizuki looking like he wants to rip your guts out of your body, said the fox, while Naruto physically performed the henge substitution and then 7 shadow clone jutsu to replace the normal clone jutsu requirement. I thought so. Better be careful of that one, thought Naruto as he saw the flash of anger on Mizuki's face at him passing the test and took the headband Iruka gave him before tying it to his head. With his task of graduating done, Naruto walked out with his friends to be greeted by their parents, who all awaited the good news of seeing their sons and daughters become the future of the Leaf. Among them were Naruto's adopted parents, who knew the blonde would pass the graduation exam without question, and both had smiles on their faces. Despite the whispers from several parents seeing that Naruto had graduated and were looking at the three of them in disgust. Look. The thing actually graduated, said one mother angrily while talking to another. I can't believe we can't even give so much as a hint to what he holds. The new Hokage's zero-tolerance policy on it has been taking down people left and right because they were among the brave ones that chose to defy the law, the Sandaime said. If I was Hokage, I'd order the death of that creature, and, said the second woman, but was silenced when Naruto looked in their direction and glared in a manner that told them both shut their mouths. Some people never learn, said Naruto to his parents. I'm just glad you graduated, Gaki. Now you're legally an adult and we can all celebrate by getting hammered, said Grimjo as he saw Tia had a tick mark appear and Naruto shaking his head no. Thanks dad, but I don't think I'm ready for that yet, and even if I was something tells me you'd get hammered to cover us both, said Naruto as he saw Grimjo laughing a hearty laugh and made some of the parents jump in fear since they knew that the former Espada had already made himself notorious in the village when it came to the arrogant fools that tried to defy the zero-tolerance policy. A zero to a crowd of bigots on Naruto's birthday tends to do that. Yeah. We'll wait a few years for that moment, said Grimjo as he saw Hiashi was with Hinata and Hanabi beside the clan head to see his eldest graduate second only to Naruto. Still, Hinata was the best kunoichi of her entire class and that was for the moment good enough for Hiashi since there were many clan heirs in the girls' class this year. You have done well, Hinata. Hanabi, I want you to look upon your sister and strive to be strong like her, said Hiashi as he saw Hanabi nodding and trying to hide the feeling of dread that would one day come with the elders, demanding the two eventually duel in a battle to decide their fate within the Hyuga clan. Thank you, father. I will do what I can to prove my worth within the clan, said Hinata, though she looked at poor Hanabi that told the younger of the two sisters that she had no intention of branding the girl with the cage bird seal. Looking to her right, Hinata saw Naruto along with his parents walking over to them and had to keep the shyness she felt when near him at bay. Not only that, but Hinata had to fight the color that wanted to come to her cheeks when the wind blew by, which revealed Naruto's muscles behind his loose black shirt and with the white one that seemed to stick to them. It took all of Hinata's inner strength not to get a nosebleed or let out a perverted giggle that would have made Jiraiya proud. Isn't this a kick-ass day for both our families or what? Said Grimjo as he saw the youngest of the two girls hide behind their father's back in fear and Hinata just smiled at him before looking at Naruto. Yes, it is indeed a good day for both of us as parents. You did an incredible job in your son's training, said Hiashi as he was still afraid of them, but even still the Hyuga head also respected them and the blonde for what had been accomplished in just 4 years. Yep. A chip off the old block, said Grimjo, who got elbow and glare from Tia in regards to that statement since she raised him too. Yes. From both of us, said Tia as she saw Mizuki off to the side talking to one of the boys in Naruto's class who didn't pass the graduation exam and it was clear the boy was really interested in what the teacher had to say. Whatever. Come on, Gaki. It's time to go home and celebrate. You can play with your girlfriend later, said Grimjo as he saw Hinata having a full face blush and Naruto doing the same while glaring at him for saying that. Later that night. Mizuki smiled evilly at his brilliant achievement in fooling that dumb kid into taking the forbidden scroll of sealing as he just lied to the brat about it being a top secret exam and given to only those with the greatest kind of potential in being a shinobi of the leaf. Oh, how the boy was practically frothing at the mouth when he said that and how the kid followed the notion without question. After all, how is a mere dumbass kid going to question a teacher's actions regarding a secret exam and see it for what it really is? Well, except the Hokage of course, but what that bitch doesn't know won't hurt me. Thought Mizuki as he told the kid to wait in this particular spot for a while since the Hokage was no doubt telling every high-rank shinobi to look everywhere for the scroll and the culprit behind the thievery. Hello, Mizuki team. Said Naruto from behind the so-called teacher and scaring the man right out of his hiding spot. You? What are you doing here, demon brat? said Mizuki as he saw Naruto grinning at him and knew it wasn't a goof thing that the boy was here. Funny. I was actually wondering the same thing about you. As it turns out, the kid you talked into getting the scroll got caught and spilled his guts at the first sign of the Hokage cracking her knuckles before she beat the info out of him. So during that time, we made it appear that the kid was successful and took the scroll, knowing that his instigator would come out eventually during the chaos of the search to be caught. Said Naruto as he saw Mizuki look at him in surprise, then leap from the trees to the grass and tried to make a break for it before Naruto appeared in front of the traitor. Within moments, several shinobi surrounded them and weapons were drawn. So the big bad demon is actually using his brain for once. Perhaps you also know why you are hated by everyone in the village. Why these shinobi would sooner attack you and let me go free while they become the heroes of the leaf for ending your miserable existence, said Mizuki as he knew several of these shinobi and knew they hated the damn brat for what he held. If you're referring to the Kyuubi, then yes I do know of him, but sadly I don't know his true name, just his title really, and that I wish I did since he's being a pain in the ass about it, said Naruto as he saw Mizuki frown at him, and so did the other shinobi too, since they didn't understand what the boy was talking about. Don't try to hide it. You are Kyuubi. You attacked a leaf 12 years ago and now you are going to die. Said Mizuki as he saw the leaf shinobi around him look at the blonde and grinned at how this worked out for him. Oh really? Said Naruto as he looked around to see the leaf shinobi around him were now all getting ready to fight him instead of going after Mizuki and sighed at this new turn of events. Yes really. That bitch may be Hokage, but she will never be able to remove the village's desire to spill your blood demon. Even if she has the backing of those two freaks that are your adopted parents, the village will never care about you and will see to it that your life ends one way or another at their hands. Said Mizuki as he pulled out a kunai and was pleased that this situation was in his favor. How troublesome. I guess we're doing this the hard way then. It was bound to happen eventually, said Naruto as he unwrapped his Zanpakuto and saw the looks of surprise along with some of the shinobi around him, smirking at the thought of the boy wielding such a weapon like an expert being ridiculous. Kill him and hurry. If we take too long the Hokage will suspect something and that will spell doom for all of us, said the Jounin leading the group before his comrades charged in with their own weapons. You're already dead. You just don't know it, said Naruto as he was gone in an instant and appeared behind the Jounin leading the squad before the man's head fell off onto the ground. Don't just stand there looking like fish with your mouths open. Kill the fucking demon. Said Mizuki as he brought out a small container of purple liquid given to him by one Orochimaru of the Sannin and drank its contents down in one simple movement. Naruto cut through them easily enough, which was in no part due to the shinobi in front of him underestimating his strength and skill with his Zanpakuto because of his age. That changed soon after the first two fell at his hands with the use of his weapon and the other shinobi around him began making hand signs before launching various jutsus at him. Naruto easily dodged them of course, as well as slicing one fire jutsu in half with a wave of energy he shot out of his Zanpakuto, cutting the leaf shinobi in half. Unfortunately, while this was happening, Mizuki was using this time to transform into something sinister as he felt the power Orochimaru had granted him spreading through his body and began laughing when the effects became physical. This brought the shinobi fighting Naruto and the boy himself away from their fight to focus on the hideous thing that the traitor had become. Aw crap, thought Naruto as he leaped out of the way of the deformed Mizuki, who was no longer thinking rationally and attacked everything in sight with his pale face with red glowing eyes with his skin now fully darkened like it was one big deformed bruise. If Naruto didn't know any better, he would have suspected Mizuki had somehow turned himself into a deformed looking hollow and was still incomplete in that regard. When Mizuki had finished with the leaf shinobi around him, the traitor turned his attention to Naruto and narrowed his empty red eyes at the blonde. I'm going to enjoy ripping your intestines out of your body and devouring them, said Mizuki in a newly deformed voice and looking at Naruto with hunger in his eyes. You'll excuse me if I don't feel like offering up my organs for such a thing, said Naruto as he prepared to fight this semi-hollow-like creature and saw Mizuki chuckle. I will kill you. Make no mistake on that. Besides, if I cannot get you, then that pretty Hyuga girl will be a nice substitute and I will be paid handsomely if taken straight to Kumo. After I get to have a little fun of course, said Mizuki as he saw Naruto snarl at him and angling the blade ready to strike. You're going to wish you hadn't said that, team. Said Naruto as he moved forward with incredible speed and sliced Mizuki's arm clean off with the man currently no longer a man letting out a demonic howling of pain. Bastard child. I'll butcher you for this, said Mizuki as he sprouted a long tail during his spasm of pain and the moment of surprise caught Naruto off guard just enough to be hit by it with enough force that it sent the boy flying into a nearby tree. Ow. That surprisingly hurt, thought Naruto as he got off the ground and spat out some blood in his mouth. Mizuki saw the boy was down before launching at Naruto with his still usable arm, used his beyond human strength to temporarily pin the blonde to the tree while salivating at the mouth. For Naruto, this was an unexpected turn of events, as he didn't expect the bastard to be transformed into some kind of pseudo-hollow mutation and have the power to back him into a corner. The only option Naruto could think of that could give him the needed strength to kill Mizuki outright would be to learn the name of his Zanpakuto, but the damn fox kept saying that wasn't possible, and all because he wasn't ready. How can he not be ready? So you want to know my name, do you? Said the fox as he pulled Naruto into the boy's mind and stood before him, seeing the blonde feeling pissed off that they were having this conversation now. Yeah. I would. Is that too much to ask? Why can't I learn it? I've treated you with respect, dignity, and friendship that if you realized was sacred to me. What is preventing me from learning your name? Said Naruto as he saw the fox in his human form just stare at him and wondered if the demon now Zanpakuto was going to kick him out of his mind for this. If you wish to learn my name Naruto, then you must first learn to abandon your fear locked away in your heart, said the fox as he saw Naruto frown, and it was clear the blonde didn't understand. What fear? There is no fear in my heart. Said Naruto before he was blown back into a wall of his mind by the fox, now clearly losing his patience with the boy. You know the fear I speak of. Don't deny it isn't there, for I have seen it myself. The fear of losing those close to your heart because the power you have is not enough. The fear that they will die when you could have saved them had you been by their side. The fear that you will die alone because all those close to your heart will die beforehand. Said the fox as he saw Naruto look away with a flinch and knew that he had hit home. So what do I do? Tell me. Said Naruto as he wanted to be strong for those close to his heart and protect them when they couldn't protect themselves. Abandon your fear. Look forward. Move forward and never stop. You'll age if you pull back. You'll die if you hesitate, said the fox as he saw Naruto close his eyes and look deep within himself. I must remove all fear. All hesitation. I must look to the future, thought Naruto as he opened his eyes and saw the fox in front of him before giving the spirit that was his Zanpakuto a nod. Then rise up, Namikaze Naruto. Rise up with my power to aid you in fighting against your enemies that await you, and speak my name. Said the fox as he spoke his name to Naruto, and the blonde nodded his head. He heard the Zanpakuto's name, and his name was. Anything to say before you die, Kyuubi brat? Said Mizuki, ready to devour the boy's head in an instant. Yeah. I do want to say one word. Though it's more like a name really. Zangetsu. Said Naruto as he felt his power spike suddenly and shot out a blast of spirit energy from his Zanpakuto that obliterated the disfigured man, turned into a mutated hollow-looking thing from existence. Naruto. Said Tsunade as she appeared moments later to see the blonde slumped against a tree grinning and giving her a thumbs up. A mission complete. It's alright, godmother. Everything under control, and as an added bonus I even learned the name of my Zanpakuto, said Naruto as he saw the woman walk over to him and give him a once-over before hugging him. I'm sorry that ambush on Mizuki went south on you. I thought the shinobi I sent to back you up were not among those other arrogant bakas in the village, said Tsunade as she would be more careful next time and see to it that Naruto got backup from people he could trust. I know. Let's get back to your office and I can give you a full report, said Naruto as he was sure to give his godmother something to read long after this was over and make sure that it was kept away from the eyes of those on the councils. Naruto only hoped that his team was less painful than this mission.